Yeah, hello everybody.
Woo!
Welcome to Council of Creators, a special episode of Council of Creators. Joypad Jake is here. Ronan Unchained is here. Welcome, sir.
What's up?
And we got some more people probably showing up later. Something big happened over the last number of weeks.
Big.
It's a little show. It's got men in the title.
Oh no, it's canceled.
It is canceled. Yes, it is. Fair point. It is canceled. X-Men 97.
Oh yeah.
That little so classic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. It's easiest way to enter the conversation is wow.
Wow is an understatement. It was a show that had characters.
Yes.
The characters did things.
Brutal shit happened.
Yeah.
I think we weren't expecting how far they were going with the show.
Oh no. Yeah.
I don't know where to begin. I think the announcement of returning was awesome, but no one was prepared for this shit.
No.
No.
I mean, when I first saw that it was happening, I was expecting, hey, we're gonna get, for those of us who grew up with it, we're gonna get a nice, trip down memory lane. We're gonna see all of our favorite characters again, get all the nostalgia bits, and they definitely succeeded in giving us that. But then it turned out to be a lot more, and that's what we weren't expecting.
Mm-hmm.
What were your first thoughts, Ronan, when it was announced?
When it was announced,
yeah,
I went, "Ooh, shit!" And then, much like Blade Runner 2049, I was like, "Oh no, what if, oh boy." What if shit hits the fan and whatnot? And I was like, that's a big part of my childhood. Please don't mess it up, whatnot. But much like 2049, in my opinion, they came swinging. First of all, the marketing, the teaser, it already smelled good. It smelled and felt good, and you say wow at the end of it. All I can do right now is just to everybody involved is just go, just do this. I'm like, it's one thing to get me back, get my generation back. It's another thing to be a great entryway to anybody who's never heard or seen the X-Men before. And then the kicker of it is that, we want more X-Men stuff. Well, there's more shows, there's movies, and if you want to, there's fucking comic books that you can go read and whatnot that can fill your appetite.
So it's interesting here. So James is saying he disliked it. I'm curious to know why. I've seen some people dislike it, and I understand. I heard a lot of criticism about the pacing of the show. Understandable. They had 10 episodes, right?
Yeah,
and
they didn't have 20 episodes like the seasons had before.
Also, we are accustomed nowadays. A lot of shows rush shit at the end.
Yeah.
And they just kind of meander for a good portion of the show. I have a good example. Another X-Men show, Evolution.
Yep. I was thinking that. Mm-hmm.
Apocalypse was introduced in the end of season 3 and then teased and showed in season 4 at the premiere. And then he's barely touched on until the last 2 episodes 8 and 9. So literally you're spending all the time going, when are we getting a fucking Apocalypse? And then we get to the end and then it's show's done. At least the show here didn't rush Bastion and the human Sentinel hybrids.
No.
I mean, you could say they were rushed, but imagine if we had 10 episodes and then they waited till the last 2 to get to all that shit. It'd be like, what? Oh, wait, what? We spent all this time, reminiscing, and here's all the nostalgia, which we got a lot of that, but they actually were telling story. They were actually, and it was making Mr. Sinister brought into the mix and revealing the whole gene swap. That tied in later on with Bastion. So it wasn't like a one-off thing. Oh, the Goblin Queen. Oh, it made sense because, okay. Yeah. I'm just going to get into it. I think Apocalypse is not just bringing back Gambit. He's bringing back Madeline. I think he's going to bring her back. That's what I'm thinking. I think there's major players that died on Genosha that he's going to bring back. I don't know about just 4 for the 4 Horsemen. I think there might be more he might be bringing back because he's basically left to do whatever the hell he wants because the X-Men are spread across time. Who's going to stop him, right?
Yeah,
and they've done the 4 Horsemen angle before. So it's like, I would think that someone of him would think better, be like, okay, let me get my 4 peoples, but what else is there in the cards, if you will?
Literally the cards.
Yeah,
Literally.
yep.
Yeah.
And, those 4 horsemen that he has, war, pestilence, famine, and death. Multiple people have held those titles in the past. Like you've had Gambit, Wolverine, hold those titles before, and other people have too. So, kind of phasing in new mutants to hold up those titles, I guess, if you will, isn't exactly an unheard of thing either.
Hey, Gore.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions, but I think when Bo revealed, because everyone's like, wait, did Madeline just die? And Bo's like, yeah. Like, she got obliterated after seeing her son after all these years.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to come back. I think once you reveal there's another gene, you can't just officially wipe it out and be done. There's got to be more.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question, and I'm going to ask everyone this question when they come in.
Yeah.
Who do you think spread the X-Men across time? Who do you think?
The Watcher. I'm going with the Watcher. If he was there to watch Genosha go down, and if we know the stuff, it's like he watches pivotal moments in the multiverse.
That's why
it's like
no one connected that, I don't think, until like it happened. Like, why is he here? Like, why is he watching?
Yeah, I had that thought.
Look at how it went down. It's literally Back to the Future Part 2. That ending is literally that. The DeLorean gets sent back in time, and then Marty has to go find someone to get him back in time. It's literally Back to Part 2. And I would think that if Apocalypse did that, I would be like, that's too many cooks and whatnot. And the fact that this show is coming out during the Banner era of the Multiverse Saga, it's a good, subtle yet not subtle way to connect that without depriving the storyline focused on these characters and whatnot. So my money's on the Watcher. I could be wrong, but I'm like, they could not. That was not just an Easter egg, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
so this isn't entirely true, because they have before in certain iterations.
I mean, well, in the show, he brought together a multiverse of Avengers to take on Ultron.
He fought Ultron.
Yeah. So he does intervene at points. And the fact is he keeps picking up Agent Carter or Captain Carter and throwing around shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is intervening. I would say maybe someone brought this up. Apocalypse, I think, is too easy.
Yeah,
I think it might
be.
I
want to do that.
Kang.
Someone did. I've been hearing a little bit rumblings of maybe this is Kang doing whatnot, and it's a fascinating choice. But where we're at right now with the angle of Jonathan Majors' presence with that character and his iterations, it's interesting, and it would behoove us to not put that in the realm of possibility, because there's a lot of stuff. Again, Madeline, I did not expect them to go down that road when that was introduced. And I would say this, that if it isn't the Watcher, if the main writers of the show, not Bew, excluding Bew, but if they stay afoot, I feel like they have proven themselves that, okay, season 2, you might make it work with what you choose to go forward with.
I think they know. I mean, I think obviously with season 2 already been written too.
Right.
They know who did it. And I think there's a plan. With Insabanur meeting most of the X-Men in the flashback 3000 BC, they know that Apocalypse and Insabanur are the same thing, right? I can't remember if, at the 90s show.
I would think
I don't know.
So.
Well, because they're looking at each other and there's no like major oh shit, this is Apocalypse. They're just like, okay.
I don't know about y'all, but I cracked up when Beast suddenly started going left, because I was like, him and Charles was like, not this shit again, not him again. And it wasn't until the music beat from the Newton Brothers hits and he goes, oh dear, but like, wait a minute.
Yeah, because Magneto knew that they were the same person, but I don't know if the rest of them knew.
There's connection that James said about Ramu. Yeah,
the Ramatut. I think you might be right. I think
that could.
And also, true. Bishop's tied in with Kang. That's happened too. I only say Kang. I think it might make sense. It's a possibility, because what did this show do besides what the 90s should do? What did 97 do? Showcase the larger Marvel universe in big ways. Spider-Man, Daredevil, Cloak and Dagger, Black Panther, Iron Man, Cap, like
MJ. Like that is
you can't just do that and then not have anything happen.
That is huge.
Someone said, "Oh, season 2 needs to have a flashback on how Peter finds her." No,
No,
we need the show to.
that's its own
That's the
own
show.
The show
Yeah,
has to come back
yeah,
to do that.
yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
Yeah, they had I lost my train of thought just now, but they had in the original show, they had little bits of a wider Marvel universe being shown back in the '90s show too. You saw those little clips of your Black Panthers, your Thors, your Doctor Stranges. You saw like little bits and teases of them, but they didn't have a big role necessarily. And with the limited amount of episodes, I was surprised that even though these characters didn't have necessarily like a mainstay or role, the world still felt like it was established, and you saw a lot of the spectrum of Marvel.
And I think the show might be heavily emphasizing and showing the larger Marvel universe because season 2, in present day, who's still around? Not many people of the mutant side. So I think we might see more of these characters have a role. Maybe not a big role, but I mean, Cap interact with Rogue. What if Cap goes to Forge and goes to Bishop at some point and like, oh, your guys are going to try to find the X-Men and shit? Like what's going on? Like the season 2 opening might be literally Iron Man and Cap going to the remainder mutants or whatever, going to the X-Mansion or something. Like what the hell's going on? Like I don't know. Because because they jumped 6 months in the future. What if there's something that immediately after they disappeared, there was a meeting of like heroes and shit, like Daredevil, all of them, Spider-Man, and they got together because the world almost fucking ended. Where's the X-Men? Yeah. So maybe they're doing this because they're setting it up to like, just so you're not thrown off, this is what's happening. There's other characters,
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are off-world.
And Quicksilver,
and they teased them in the finale like little silhouettes, right? I mean, and now their dad's gone.
Yeah. The only thing I can say is you might want to be careful about how much you include those other heroes in, because then every time something big happens, the question is going to be in the back of your mind of, okay, where are all these guys? How are they dealing with this? How are they? Well, I think
the show is saying that they're not going to be doing that. Like they literally could have excluded them in the finale they could have easily just not shown anybody except the mutants, but they highlight all. I think because they're allowed to show them, but I think voicing is a different story.
Yeah, they're given a lot more leniency now than back then.
Yeah, and the thing is here, the '90s Iron Man, I think they're just saying this Iron Man. They're not saying that show's canon. They're just saying there's an Iron Man in this world.
And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure my first collection of Secret Wars was Spider-Man the Animated Series, and he does recruit Iron Man in that team.
And Storm.
And Storm, and the FF, and Storm, Cap, and it's just like...
I'm surprised he didn't recruit Jean. You know what I'm saying? Like, out of the two...
Well, I don't know if he knew what Jean's abilities were.
Yeah.
If he knew she was the Phoenix, I mean, I think he would go...
That'd be a different story, yeah.
I think I got to go with her.
I wouldn't, but I could not... forgo Aurora, the goddess. To me, that's a whole, especially with the way they used her in those episodes. I was like, that was not a bad choice, and why not?
Brutal, like that. That scene with the Sentinels flying with the tornado, like insane.
Yeah, I think that's the first time they called her an Omega level mutant too, because I don't think they called her that in the original show. But just seeing her go nuts on those guys and that little tune they played in the background that kind of followed Storm was a really nice touch.
Yeah, that was a nice piece of like the music in this show was great. I think the updated theme worked well as well because it needed it was good.
And they kept updating the intro when new things were happening. They kept adding new shots.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
Yeah,
and now it makes more sense why they added Apocalypse randomly in the middle of it and go, okay, here's Apocalypse shot. Like, and it's funny. Was it Ross Marquardt or whatever? I forget how to pronounce his name. Yeah, he's voicing Apocalypse in that sequence. He's not in Sabanur. He's Apocalypse in that small scene.
Really?
Yeah,
he's Professor X. He's Apocalypse. He's done
Red
Skull and Infinity
War. Yeah,
it's so crazy how much Marvel. And then he does a bunch of voices in What If too. Like he's done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
a little. Yeah. And one thing I did notice too, a little detail I liked after the big ending where we're all asking what the hell happened to Magneto and Gambit. The next episode's intro, they're gone. You don't see them. And
they're completely removed. I liked because I think Gambit was replaced by Nightcrawler.
I think that was the first time they added him in the intro.
Yeah, because he wasn't in before, and then Gambit. Yeah, and then I think I mean Ross is insane what he's able to do with his voice.
So much.
That's why they keep using him. I mean, And honestly, I was wondering, like, why did they cast Ross as Professor X? Because we had that small morph sequence where he was walking as Professor X. And switching. And I'm like, what's the point? But like, and then all of a sudden, boom, here he is, and he's like, he's a full fledged. Yeah, that was a big thing too. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
He's also the voice of the kid who's in the robot suit, like robot. He voiced it, and when you listen to that voice in Professor X, it's kind of close.
Rudy, yeah,
bro, yeah,
and Immortal, yeah.
And yeah, you bring up Morph. I really liked how they used him in this series, actually, because because before it's just like him shooting a gun, and then for a large gap of the show he's kind of gone, and then he's got those like those arcs here and there. But he actually kept transforming into different X-Men during the combat scenes in this, and it didn't get old either. It's like, oh man, they're doing more. They're doing the Morph thing again. It's like, this is cool.
People thought he was just a cameo fest, and like I get that point, but
it makes sense. Like he can see these characters, he can utilize their abilities, so why wouldn't you do it?
And also, this is a fun little thing too. Yeah, the voice in Professor X and Apocalypse in Evolution, it's the same guy. Same thing happened. It's weird how that like it's happened twice now.
And he definitely nailed Apocalypse. I will give him that.
Oh, I mean, in Evolution or
yeah, in Evolution, the voice was really good in that.
But yeah, if you listen to the voice at the end of that small sequence in '97, like it's like that's pretty close to the voice that we know. But yeah, Nightcrawler was amazing.
The dialogue, man. I think for me, top tier dialogue of this season, it's got to be between Kurt and Eric. Like, and and Rogue also has some as well. Everybody has some, but like Nightcrawler was just dropping. It was almost like Yoda. He was just dropping
like wisdom bombs,
wisdom stuff, and like he was a shoulder that I think all of us were leaning on when we were mourning people and like sad as hell. Bro.
Yeah, that one. And just that introduction when he kept bamfing and just hugging all over Rogue. I don't know why, it just put a big grin on my face.
Yes.
And
I want to also say this because that was spoiled for me. At Marvel, if you're watching this, and I know you're watching this, Marvel, I know you gotta advertise each week, upcoming the next X-Men episode. I'm like, just hold back a little bit or do something that's not in the episode because then that ruins stuff moments. Like I knew once they landed in Genosha, I was just waiting for him to pop up, and I have to admit the fact that they lean into the whole sibling stuff warmed my heart a whole lot. Like that was beautiful as hell, and the fact that it's the same dude. And again, halfway through the season, you come in and it's just like, which hopefully, it stays stronger into season 2.
I'm hoping so because I mean, it really hit you kind of raw when they first did it in the original series because they had the whole angle with Graydon Creed going on at the time, so you got a bunch of conflicting perspectives there.
His thing with Mystique, I was not blue enough for her, and just. The whole thing with the church and whatnot, and the fact that he was
abandoning him, and they tied that in. They did a parallel in '97 when they showed Jean sending Nathan off. It's framed and animated in kind of the same way as Mystique did in Nightcrawler. It's like that's attention to detail.
Yeah,
I love their back and forth.
May you weather your mind and mind your weather. Oh
yeah. And the dialogue right after she loses her powers too, it's like, I've always wondered what it's like to be human. It's like, God, you guys are hitting me right now.
What a sisterhood. And the fact that it was right from that first episode, and when shit hits the fan in episode 2, the fact that it's Jean there to consult Aurora, and when she does come back, and it's another thing. I remember hearing this grab. People were like, wait a minute, we're just all gonna accept that Rose back with normal powers and whatnot. And to an extent, I'm like, I agree with that notion. But if there was somebody that was gonna like ask and welcome her back, I was glad that it was Jean who rushed to her and was like, "Oh, my sister is back." And I adore that friendship. That again, it just expands on what we grew up on and what we read. It ties it even more, which is commendable to this crew.
I was surprised that Logan didn't really have a lot to do in this first season.
And
he had some big moments, but I was expecting more Wolverine because that's kind of like what they do.
Yeah. I can understand. I can kind of understand why they didn't do that because if you look back at the original show, he had a lot of episodes that were dedicated to him. And I can get why they would want to show, like some other people, like, yes, Wolverine is the most popular X-Men, but they definitely want to highlight some of those other characters. And that's not to say Wolverine won't get more to do in the seasons that they have planned. And there was a point I wanted to touch on too, because Ronan was talking about the strong dialogue in this season. I think another good contender for that, like we touched on a second ago, was Storm. I think it's in episode 2, whenever she's it's whenever Magneto is about to be in danger from the guys that are attacking him, and the human's like, who does she think she is? She's like, don't think, listen to me now if you want to live. It's like,
be
back
silent.
then,
Yeah.
back then in the original show, like, Storm was very very sage-like, very soft-spoken, but like when it came down to business, she got stuff done. You still feel a little bit of her, like the soft-spoken part of her now when she's within the mansion and stuff, but that down to business angle is even more tenfold now. It's like, and especially they show you the full extent of her power. It's like, yeah, you don't want to mess with her. Okay.
No.
And I love, I get that the people were like, what about Wolverine? And I am a Wolverine guy. Like, again, this is the big DNA with my childhood, but I was just like, I was so effing happy that Scott got elevated so much.
Oh, yeah.
I was so happy that Bishop had moments to shine and whatnot. That we leaned in more with Jean and not just the Phoenix stuff and whatnot. It's like, okay, what about motherhood? And what about the two versions where one wants to, stay with the X-Men and one wants to finally go on their own and be like, what's more beyond this life? And to go back with the Wolverine stuff, to me, one of the most beautiful ones is, when Jubilee asks, why isn't Rogue at the funeral? Why isn't she here? He died for her. He loved her. And he's like, mourning is a lonely war and whatnot. We all gotta do it at our own.
Exactly.
It says a lot about what he's been through and whatnot.
What he says a line to Jean about drowning in your past or history. It's like, like that's what he does all the time. And it's funny because like today, a fan film came out for a Wolverine, like where he's like in Viking era.
Yeah.
All right, that's right.
Yeah. I didn't know about that thing till today. And the thing is, like, okay, if this Logan is, I was going crazy right now. If Logan was around from Viking era all the way up to now, how much has he gone through as a character? Like, that's insane. Let alone him being around for like 200-300 years, but like 500-600 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot. But I mean, I think it also works for Jean because now she's in this like troubled state of, who am I? It's not so much like, what do I remember? Who am I as a person? Because Madeline, Jean, took over and went. And the thing is, I don't know if they're ever going to answer. I think they know. They're never going to tell us when the switch occurred.
No, I think it's implied that it happened like seasons back.
It happened in the original run, but I think they'll never tell us.
No,
unless they don't want to rob us of what was connected to Jean and what was not Jean and whatnot. Which is it's a fascinating talk because it's like they're technically both Jean. They both live the memories. They both, one gave birth to the kid and whatnot. And when it hits in episode 10, it's like that is Nathan's mom. And it's the weird thing, ending, but that's what's beauty.
And then there's Nathan now, but he's spending time with his not mother.
Yeah,
it's weird, but that's the trippy. I mean, that's X-Men for you. That's story. Like that's because it wouldn't be X-Men without some weird shit that is like, what the fuck, what?
Yeah. And like that Wolverine Jean exchange, there was another bit in there where she's like, sometimes I forget how many sunrises and sunsets you've seen. It's like, yeah, the guy really has been through so much. And now Jean kind of experiences what he went through for the entirety of that run, where like his past was just all a cloud of mystery to him that he was kind of shifting through. And now she gets it.
I understand this point, but it's not the same because he saw his actual mom get obliterated. So I get the point. They are the same person, but she's not the one who birthed them. Yeah. So it's kind of it's a weird thing, but I get the point as well. But I think this will also make it to where Cable, Nathan, will have a more of a connection with this Jean because now they're in his time period where he's a little. He's like kind of a teen little kid. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he's the same age his kid was, give or take, in the original run.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting how they pull that off.
Yeah.
I honestly was expecting Onslaught, like an actual tease of Onslaught, because of what Professor X and what Magneto like. I was expecting something. They didn't do it, but I feel like they're going to do it. You know?
I think it's a layup.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there won't, because they. I mean, you could say they did hint at it. It's just that they're like, that's something that you have to wait and hold off for a bit on that. That's another beauty of this show, is that when they did stuff, dialogue, action, and emotional moments, pivotal moments, it was building up towards and whatnot.
Do you think he'll be season 3 then?
Yes, I think that if I was a betting man in Vegas, I would go season 3, just because we spent so much time with Magneto in this season and really got wrapped around his eyes of the world and how much he keeps getting proven right.
Yep.
I feel like season 2, we might spend some more time with Charles and his point of view, now that he had to leave his wife, the woman he loved, to come back for the people that he wouldn't abandon. It's like, all right, now get that point of view across. And then once both points of views are balanced up, then they do, okay, let's put the 2 biggest minds of this universe together and let the rest of the people deal with it. And then maybe then the Avengers and maybe the rest of the Marvel universe might fully dive.
They'll have to. Based on the Onslaught story, they're going to have to. I mean, because it also ties into Fantastic Four. Like with Onslaught. I think Onslaught, because as we know, like if you remember the iconic reveal of Onslaught, he like throws Juggernaut across the fucking world.
Yeah. And
he almost dies. I'm thinking he's going to jet to Apocalypse.
I would not put it
around.
That's my guess. They're going to switch it and have it to where Apocalypse is going to get obliterated by this guy to showcase how powerful he is. Because Apocalypse has been their biggest foe.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of power and how deadly he is and all the manipulation. I mean, you have to find a way to one up him. Because if Onslaught just said like he's kind of like Apocalypse, okay, you got to show he's bigger and badder than Apocalypse.
Yeah, because otherwise it's going to feel like the same thing.
Just with a different color palette and different name.
Yeah,
and they're not afraid to do that. We've seen that them doing with pulling comic covers. Wolverine crucified on the X. Well, in the show, it's Magneto crucified on the X with his Speedo. It's something that. Right on, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would. That is a great pull to be like, you know what? Maybe not Juggernaut, although he was presented in this season as a cameo and in the original show. Switch it up. Do it in this iteration. It's Apocalypse that gets thrown out.
I like this line. After the Apocalypse comes the Onslaught. Like, I like it.
It could be like a tagline or something.
Season 3 poster.
Yeah, exactly. But I wouldn't be surprised. Say in a hypothetical situation, if Onslaught does end up being season 3, I could see them definitely dropping some hints early on into season 2 if that's where they're going to slowly start the build up. Mm-hmm. Because just to use this as an example, even though Apocalypse wasn't shown a whole lot in Evolutions last season, they first started teasing in the middle of season 2, so they could start that build up pretty early.
I feel like they will. It'll be kind of like how they did Bastion, where if you really go back to those previous episodes where he's revealed, there's like little teases and little things you may have missed. I feel like they're not going to be as subtle. They're going to be full on. Okay, we're going to start because they had an after credit sequence last episode, but they might start doing that every episode now.
Maybe,
I don't know. And so I guess there's people that missed it. Some people that react to the show that missed that after because they've never done it before. So they were like.
Oh, yeah, I had to go back and watch that. I saw it in someone's reaction. I was like, wait, when was this? I had to go back and watch it.
No, I don't think anybody knew.
Yeah, that's fascinating because I stood still after that to be continued. I was like, yo, what the fuck did we just watch? Yeah. And then it was like, up. And the minute, I love that Mike, a friend of ours, was the minute he saw the flag at Genosha waving with Magneto, he was like, he's coming back. And it's just like, well.
Yeah.
People, be careful what you wish for because it's death. It's a queen
card. I'm trying to remember exactly what his lines were in that moment.
Yeah, during
So
that
much
last episode,
death.
I thought they were in the White Room for a second during that last episode, but I'm like, wait, that can't happen. That didn't exist yet. But
Yeah.
for a moment, that's where my mind went. But I was like, wait, hold on. Yeah, oh man,
Yeah, I'm pulling up. I'm
yeah,
listening.
as a Cable fan, I was definitely happy with what they did with him in this show too. But
Yeah.
would have liked to see more of it. But I loved that moment. Just to go off on this for a second. I think it's in episode 4 or 5. Whenever he just comes out of the portal at the end, and then Gene like holds his face and goes, "You made it." It's like that was so powerful because
That was fine.
he needed to hear that. He needed to hear that.
So here's I'm gonna play the audio from Apocalypse.
So much pain, my children.
So much pain, my children.
But he says death.
Yeah.
So much death.
But the idea of him saying, because he's always kind of looked at himself, or he's the first mutant, but he looks at everyone else as children. So much pain, my children. Like he's acting like a guardian figure over them. And it's always fascinated me his approach to it, because he could have easily has just said, so much pain, but he adds my children, because I guess to him when mutants die, it's like it's bad. It's a bad thing. But he also is a villain who would murder mutants if they're standing against him,
because he has that whole survival of the fittest mentality. So
it's a weird complex, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And
that complex.
I'm thinking. I think the reason why he wants to bring Gambit back, he probably witnessed Gambit destroying and killing that, gigantic Sentinel, and realizing, oh, this guy's powers, holy shit! All right,
I can use that.
And when
I still think about that fucking shot where he's on top of Wolverine and gets in the adamantium. Fucking, that was so good.
Yeah,
man.
And it was funny when you see that in the trailers. It's like, oh, it's cool. But then when you see that whole sequence play out, like past where the marketing stops,
brutal.
It's just so good. And
if he would have done that to somebody else, that Sentinel would have been destroyed, I think.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
I
Wolverine
would think so. Yeah.
Wolverine wasn't there.
And then the bit, I think it's I think it's episode 5 where you see the zoomed out shot of the Sentinel, and then it just starts lighting up all over because he's charging it. It's like, oh my god!
And it's again a layup. It's just a heads up, like, okay, Gambit did this with Wolverine. What if he does it with a kaiju?
Like
Sentinel,
behemoth-sized Sentinel. Yeah,
yep.
Because they kind of showed that in one of the last episodes of Evolution, where he like holds onto a train. He's like, "I'll blow this boxcar off this train." If
he did threaten to do that. Yeah.
It's like, that's cool, but this one, it's like, oh, okay, this is a lot bigger stakes.
Also, too, I think the explosion didn't kill him. He was already dead, I think.
I mean, he already was stabbed. He was stabbed there,
I think
but
it was a combination of both.
Yeah, it was the finishing blow.
Yeah,
which is a good. It's how messed up of a team, because they have Gambit doing parkour once Genosha gets hit, and he gets the he gets the kids out of that building and whatnot. He stops Rogue from getting vaporized. He's doing the motorcycle stuff, and it's like, okay, but at the final bit when he meets the final boss, he gets hit, but he goes down swinging.
He doesn't give up, and the fact is, Rogue wasn't able to tell him that she picked him, and when Bo was asked, he's like, "That's the whole point." He died never knowing that she did pick him over Magneto. Like,
I'm telling
but he was respectable about it. That's what I fucking admire and love about him, is that even when she said
he was being strong. He was being strong.
And he was willing to just, play through it all out, even though he knew that it would be dangerous, for physical contact with them. And God, let me tell you, when it cut to black and you just hear, "I can't feel you," damn, that hit.
And it adds more to the thing, because I can't feel you because your heart's not beating. I can't feel you because I'm not absorbing anything. I'm able to touch your face with no glove or anything, and nothing.
Yeah, that just means a lot more to a character like Rogue.
And what a good echo with another relationship that I care for about in Wanda.
Oh yeah,
WandaVision. With WandaVision, where she goes and sees the corpse and says almost exact same verbatim words, and it's just like, all right, he is gone, and then shit goes cray cray. The minute that episode finished, boys, I knew we were like, this is a big moment in pop culture, and I was just like, A, thank God I captured it, and B, it's like, all right, after this, there's no going back with how good this stuff can get and whatnot. And thankfully, I think I heard people are pushing that episode for an Emmy nomination.
Yeah, as a fan of those two characters, it was strong, but it hurt.
I wonder. I think that might be the point where this became more than just
90s cartoon.
It's a 90s cartoon return, and kids can enjoy it. I feel like maybe there should be like an advisory thing a little bit on it, maybe.
Because I think it's a TV-14 rating, right?
They don't curse a lot, so I would say no. There's not a lot of blood. I would say it's more so.
I don't know what the rating was listed.
I don't think there is a rating because it's Disney Plus.
Oh, I thought.
Is there ratings for Disney Plus?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure for Echo they did that.
Hold on.
Oh wait. What, I think Disney Plus might tell you.
Yeah, hold on. I'm pulling it up right quick.
I would think so.
TV-14. Yep.
Holy shit!
Yep. All right, and that's good enough.
Yeah. And sorry, good.
No, I'm just saying that makes sense with the brutality of it.
Yeah.
TVPG. I mean, some episodes might be different ratings.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, but ultimately, it's like the show didn't let go. All right, okay, guys, because they said "damn," I think like twice or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, okay, guys, let's start saying, "Oh, you're an ass." Like they didn't start going like that far, where it's like this doesn't feel like the show.
Yeah. No.
And even like, when Magneto was spitting out insults or jabs at humanity or the way they behave, he wouldn't use the normal swear word that one would think. He went out and he would go in an intellectual way, pogrom whatnot, or bigot or whatnot, and just use these high level words that
like infidel,
that it's just like perfect because I'm learning new words I haven't seen, and it's just like I know that means something big, that it's like it's right, it's brutal, but it is right of what he is saying and whatnot. So and with that episode, it's again perfect way to show anybody who never knew anything of the X-Men. This is what they're willing to do and why a lot of us connect to them. And also, what a great episode to be like, this is the cost at points. And the fact that he didn't come back in the season was a great choice. It sucked for a lot of us who care for the character and love the character, but it's like it adds weight to these decisions, to these moments. It sounds corny to say it grounds and whatnot, but it's just like it's that thing of the balance of powers, but also in this earth dealing with real stuff, current or non-current, that still echoes throughout history, sadly.
Yeah, no, I think that's a big part of it because they tell a very real story with like all of these super heroic characters that obviously do something that no person can do. But they handle deep topics, but they do it in mature and thought out ways where it's like, oh, we're going to introduce this big thing and then just gloss over it. No, they handle it with detail. And then a moment in that specific episode again, where the dialogue really hits in a not necessarily like a curse word heavy way, is when Scott just kind of loses it on the reporter that's interviewing him.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
He's like, it's a good thing you're not one of us because we're the only reason you guys are still living. And it's like all of his filters were just gone at that point, because a lot of people, especially early on in the 90s shows, Cyclops was, he was the Boy Scout. He did everything by the book. It's like we got to do it this way. We got to play by the rules. We got to be fair. That's gone now.
I think the point is to kind of tear down the characters. And put them in situations they haven't really been in before. Or, like you said, he's a Boy Scout. Now he's screaming at a woman on television.
That shows that they have layers, like they have complexities to them. They're flawed. So
I think that was the point, to kind of show their human side. Because, I mean, if there's no relationship situation where you have a woman and then you have a clone, like having another child and the switch. But the idea of like, okay, like I understand your connection to this woman, but it's like it's a weird thing only X-Men can do, but it deals with relationships,
Mm.
which they've had a complicated ship, and now this even adds more layers of complication because he's loved 2 women,
Mm.
same person,
Yeah.
but it's 2 different
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, because they said in that episode where the clone was like, my love for you is the only thing that I can even remember. He's like, but do you feel it? And it's like, brings up a point. It's a lot more of a feel thing. It's not just something. It's like, oh, I remember being this way. It actually has to mean something.
Yeah.
Rogue and Magneto, which
Yeah.
a lot of people were like, "Damn!" But it's just like,
It's like,
hey,
okay.
that's what happened, and
and-
it's
and
it's
I- That's another critique because it feels like it came out of nowhere. I get that.
Yeah.
It does feel strange. It does feel random.
but I'm okay
maybe
with it.
But maybe it didn't have to be there. But the way they presented it, where Rogue wasn't a hero at first, and in the comics, like that's her arc. She doesn't start out as a hero, but the idea of like her ignoring Magneto and pretend, I can see why people are like, well, but like they explain it. Well, she ignored him.
It's a
and
soap
tried to
opera.
forget. Yeah,
It's literally
like
the
a
novellas
soap
that I grew up watching.
Yeah.
like
especially
shit that, it's
considering
shit that you don't believe. You're like, like okay.
And
Yeah,
yet,
especially
it's like I
considering-
understand why Rogue would feel that way. But I'm also, but again, as a viewer, we're not we care for this character, but we can't go through this window and be like, yo, Remy is outside. He can see, he knows you went to that room.
exactly.
That's not cool or not. And but also,
He's just standing out the window when it's raining. Everybody hurts.
It did feel a little weird because when Magneto had that, that quote unquote sacrifice in the original 90s run, Rogue seemingly wasn't affected by it. So the fact that she's suddenly really torn about the relationship now, I can see why it would be strange. But again, I didn't have too much of an issue with it.
Brutal.
but again, it's what I love about the show is that as much I effing love the action, the animation, and the callbacks to the Capcom games. But it's like I episode 5. Besides the shit that goes down, I was so intrigued with them just talking to each other about relationships. The fact that Beast got like excited that the reporter was there and blushed a little bit. I'm like, yo, Hank.
And then the reveal of who she is, it's like,
And it's the gut punch is like, oh no, but I do feel like she's still in there. I think she does still care for Hank. In my opinion,
now, I can't remember. Am I stupid? Did we see Wolverine when the shit disappeared? Did we see him?
Him, Morph, and Storm, we didn't see.
Yeah, no, they weren't there.
Oh, okay.
Or in the shot, they weren't.
Which is another theory of like, okay, you're hinting at Gambit as death. You still need 3 more horsemen.
Fuck.
Yeah. Hey, it would not be the first time Storm was a horseman.
But Bew, I believe online didn't confirm or deny that they might have been in the future where Scott and Gina are, because if you look at it in Egypt with Imp Sabanur, there's 5 X-Men there. With Gina and Scott, there's only 2 of them there.
Yeah, so that could be the remaining 3.
But this is what the beauty of it. We don't know, and then it's like, fuck, where are they gonna go with this?
Yeah, because realistically, Wolverine, Morph, who could turn into any fucking person.
Yeah.
And Storm, who's now, I think, even stronger, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, because Wolverine has held the Horseman Death title in the comics before, so if they were to do that, it could either be him or Gambit, because they've both held it.
I think it'll be Gambit, but I think the idea of just Jesus Christ. Like, here's the problem. The X-Men can't do this. Apocalypse and them 4, goddamn, they are fucked. Whew. I'm sorry. They need the Avengers. They need, oh my God.
I mean, you thought the Evolution Horseman looked strong. This would be another level.
Morph alone would be so fucking difficult because he could just switch like crazy. Like, how could you stop Morph? And also, Wolverine gets his adamantium back as a horseman.
Yeah, when he becomes Death.
Because at point, I believe he becomes feral, right? With the bone and stuff.
People thought that was going to happen in the finale, which I think would have been amazing to see him go feral on Bastion.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I would have loved
but
that.
I'm okay with what we got.
It's like, how would you visualize that?
because this
I
feels.
think Logan will be war. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that the closest kinship I could see this season is what First Class did. Again, you take Wolverine off the board, you focus on the rest of the team and how the team dynamic works. That it's not just the head honcho and then following through. It's the team handling this and whatnot. And oh yeah, by the way, we got this guy who's an ace up her sleeve. No offense to Gambit.
I mean, you might be right.
I love it. I love it. Like
maybe
if Wolverine was berserking out, we wouldn't get the moment with Scott saying, "Don't you dare break your heart. Do what you do best. Heal." Or even the morph moment.
Yeah.
Where it's like she can't say this, but I can.
It's a fair point. I think maybe Morph, Storm, and Wolverine are gonna be off the table for a while for season 2. They might not be a part of the storyline until the back half of season 2. And maybe that's where you focus on the other characters more closely.
But then you might get people that complain again that Wolverine won't get much to do in a second season either.
It's fine.
Yeah. Yo, we're getting Deadpool and Wolverine.
Fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Fine.
Yeah, speaking of Deadpool, I think they said he was one of the characters off limits for the show, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
He was. Yeah.
Avengers and Deadpool were allowed.
Which is funny because they showed Deadpool. It's like a blink and you'll miss it cam in the original show for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Because Morph kept turning into different Weapon X members.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to happen.
Me neither.
I do think so.
Okay.
We would have got it in Avengers vs. Mightiest Heroes. They didn't fuck that up. But whatever.
Whatever. Still a little irritated about that.
Whatever.
I think all bets are off with that.
I wonder who was off limit besides Deadpool, though.
Was there anybody else that they said?
I think it's just Deadpool that we know of.
Okay.
I mean, they pulled out. I mean, Daredevil was not allowed to be in anything for a while because of the movie rights, but now that's fine again.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's also different too with them having non-speaking roles. Well, because Cap had some lines, no one else did except for their version of Black Panther, which is not T'Challa, it's T'Chaka.
Yeah, because they didn't get C.D. Barnes back to voice Peter. They didn't do that. Which,
no, and I feel like there's a reason why. That he's available. So I think there's a reason. I think he's going to have a role in season 2, or he's going to have his own show come back. I think with the success of this, I don't know how you don't bring that show back.
Yeah.
Or
especially with the bomb you drop in the finale, it's like, hey, he found her. It's like you don't just leave it there.
Or maybe because animation. Lord and Miller gave him a call and be like, "Hey man, show him, but let's wait for the moment and beyond the Spider-Verse. Let's wait for there." I'm still holding out hope that he might show up there. I'm still holding out hope that
I hope he's in Beyond the Spider-Verse, but I don't want that answered in Beyond. I want that answered in his own show.
That's true. That's true.
I get your point, but I think also bringing in Spectacular Spider-Man for a brief moment into that was good, but I think with the MJ thing, I like that they revealed it, but then again, I don't, because I didn't want that spoiled. I want to see the show cover it. So my hope is if they bring the show back, okay, tell that story, but give us other shit we don't know about, and then continue on. Like, because we already know he finds MJ, but how? Okay, we're gonna show you out, but here's some other shit you don't know.
Yeah, it's like don't have that be the main point of the show because we've already.
I think there's other villains and stuff they have not done in the show.
Yeah,
it ran for a while, so they did a lot of shit. But I think there's certain stuff they didn't do. I just don't remember what. And there's characters that have been introduced since that show ended. They could bring in and do something.
Yeah,
because I mean, they did Spider-Verse stuff.
Yeah.
Then.
Yes.
Well,
their version of it. Yeah.
What have they done? A ton of new shit in Spider-Verse stuff. They could bring in Miles.
Yeah, Miles wasn't around then.
Miles was not even a thing back then, so they could bring in Miles. They could bring in so many potential Spider-Verse or multiverse stuff if they wanted to.
Neither was Kane, the second Scarlet Spider. He wasn't around back then either. So they could bring him in. And that point of Jameson and Kingpin's voice actors having passed, voice actors from the original X-Men 90s had passed, but they had got roles that succeeded them. Yeah.
And they got people to do great jobs.
Ray Chase did a great job of sounding like Norm Spencer, by the way.
I mean, the thing is, too, Kingpin had an iconic voice. There are people that can practice and get a pretty damn close impression. Yeah, the voice is iconic. I understand your point.
Yeah,
but if they can do it for 97, they can do it for Spider-Man.
Yeah, and
It'd be
you know,
fine.
and just kind of like a tinfoil hat thing out there. Say, Spider-Man does get brought back, and we see some more villains that they either used but are now bringing back, or some other ones. Imagine if they brought Venom back out of the portal he went into with Dormammu and Carnage, and have that be a whole thing again.
I feel like that they have to bring that. You can't
Yeah.
not leave that alone.
Because that's the last you saw of Venom, and then he was just gone.
Yeah. So
What have we learned from this season? They're not afraid to bring back loose ends.
Oh yeah,
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
I think the show would have not worked if they didn't do that. If they just kind of went, we're just going to move forward.
Ignored it.
Or
Yeah.
basically acted like it didn't happen.
Oof. Which
You
is
would piss a lot
another
of
thing
people
people
off,
talk about
yeah.
the Daredevil Born Again stuff is like, hello.
I get your point about 90s related stuff, but also too, this is a unique universe situation. Like the fact that the show is taking place in the 90s is that's just a certain thing of it. Who's to say that there's not a Miles in this universe that gets bit by a spider in the 90s instead of in present day? It can be done. It's not like you can't do it.
All bets are off.
It's called adaptation.
yeah, and
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, and they're using it to tell their own stories. So
And realistically, when you think about it, Spider-Man in the Spider-Man game from Insomniac, he wasn't around for a long time before Miles showed up. He was Spider-Man, but he wasn't like a veteran before Miles showed up. Like they basically rushed Miles in. Miles didn't have to be in the first game.
Yeah.
He didn't have to be, but they did it because they're doing a Miles game in between 1 and 2. But
I think they thought they
realistically,
could get it.
they could have just saved him until the second game and then done the Miles game.
Yeah, I think they thought they could probably get away with that because in the continuity of that, they said, hey, he's been Spider-Man for 8 years, so technically in continuity standards, he's been around for a while, but you're only just now getting introduced to him. So
Yeah, realistically, they could have waited until Peter was in his late 30s
yeah,
and brought in Miles.
because I think he was mid-20s in that game. If I'm
Now he
not
looks way
mistaken.
now he looks way fucking younger.
Yeah. After the switch of the motion capture,
Looks like he just got his driver's license or something.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's funny.
But I mean, there's many possibilities. But I mean, I think the 90s show like this has opened the doors. I think for other things. I would like to think so, because if this was not really successful, it wasn't a bomb, I could see, okay, maybe there's no reason to do something else. But I feel like you have to maybe look at other options. Like what can you else not like bring everything back, obviously, but what makes the most sense out of what's out there? Iron Man? No. Hulk? No. I mean, that'd be cool, but no.
Fantastic Four, not really.
Spider-Man makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Because they literally left on a cliffhanger.
Mhm.
A major, like, okay, let's go find MJ. Done.
Yep.
It could
It was
be
cool they
what
had
Iron
Stan
Man-
Lee in that last episode.
Oh,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, him swinging, doing the major.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, how am I going to
Whatever.
get down?
Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
Good times.
This season is doing what Iron Man did back in 08 and what I would say Arrow did for CW. It was just the diamond in the road, and then spraying. You got Flash, you got Legends of Tomorrow, you got Black Lightning, you got all these shows. It's like it's there, and it doesn't hurt, in my opinion, what live action is doing.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Some people
Let me
say it
ask you-
hurts. Yeah. Go ahead.
Look how much people have been. This has been the water cooler show in a while concerning Marvel or DC, if you will. Like it's been that thing on a week basis, and I would like to see the sales of how much comic books and trade paperbacks have gone up since that first episode. Oh, you like this character? Okay, go get this book and whatnot. Oh, you like that character? You like this storyline? Go read it. How was it in the comics? Like it's the strength of this show that it didn't just deliver on us older fans, but it elevates the hype for what's to come in live action. And we've been saying it politely as much as we can. It's just like we salute the people involved, the live action, because it's just like now you have to follow this up.
Makes it harder.
Yeah,
I think it makes it harder based on what they pulled off here. Like how, like, I don't think you can't top it. But how can you tell a compelling and interesting story? But who are they going to use? Like, that's the question. We just don't know. I mean, this show had an established fan base, characters. The groundwork was been done for years, and it's just been sitting, waiting for somebody to pick up the torch and move on. But that's a clean slate. Yeah, that's a very different, like, beast, literal beast to handle. That was the pun.
Yeah.
But honestly, too, we were talking about dialogue earlier. Beast just amazing.
It's just they nailed it. It's just the soft-spoken way he's like, "Salutations, my friend." It's like, this is perfect. This is exactly what Beast is. And they've, from the recent adaptations of the animated Beast that there have been, obviously have this. It's not exactly recent, but Evolution, Wolverine and the X-Men, all great Beast voice actor portrayals. So that's like the one character that they've gotten consistently right, at least as far as voices.
Yeah. We do have somebody waiting backstage. RJ's here. Welcome, sir.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Badass picture.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not sure what it is, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's just a commissioned avatar thing.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. Yeah, we were just rambling about stuff. What's up, man?
Not much. Just figured I'd stop by. I saw the stream was happening. I was like, I gotta get on this conversation, because it's like so much to talk about.
Yeah. What was your thoughts when it first got announced?
I was excited, although a little bit cautious, just because there.
Think cut.
Sorry about that. Phone went off. There were four animated series that I really was into growing up that were Marvel. It was the original X-Men, the original Spider-Man, X-Men Evolution, Spectacular Spider-Man. Those four, right?
There you go.
So for me, I was really excited, but also very nervous because I'm just like, can this even like live up to what it was before, and can it really like operate on the same level? Plus, two is just like, well, what's the animation style gonna look like? Is it gonna be like, because a lot of the voice talent also passed away in between shows too. It's another aspect that I think people kind of forgot about. Like, a lot of the voice actors are different. There's some that are the same, but there are a lot of new voice talent in the show as well. So
yeah, I think there's only like 5 that came back from the original show.
Yeah, like 4 or 5. Yeah.
And I think the animation question, because we haven't really talked about it too much, there's a lot of questions surrounding like images and stuff that was coming out, but it's like we had to wait till the actual show came out. The trailers too, like we still had to wait because like they were very like limited on what they were showing. They were kind of like hiding shit.
Yeah,
and
it was still enough to get you excited.
Yeah, I remember what was it, like a Comic-Con or 2 ago when they like fully unveiled the show. They unveiled the show and they unveiled that Spider-Man cartoon they got coming up too.
Oh yeah,
freshman year.
Yeah, freshman year. I remember with both of them, like, well, I don't know about I think with Spider-Man, people were more warmed up to the art style. I think though for this show, they were still like that. It doesn't really look like the '90s show. They're trying to do something different. It's kind of like, I don't know if the art style was as accepted when they first showed the show as when obviously it aired later and everyone got to see it finally.
Yeah. Well, also, I think what also didn't help is the fact that all you got to see were like people taking photos from the audience. So it's like not perfect quality photos. Like that's the only thing we had for a while for this show.
Yeah, that too.
I was fine with the visual touch-ups because a lot of new audience members who are coming into it now, they didn't grow up with the original series. Like they're not used to like our style of animation and what we saw. They would look at it and be like, like what is this old stuff? So it might look more appealing for younger audiences. And realistically, when you think about it, just because of how animation has evolved, it would pretty much be impossible to make it look exactly the way it did back then. So like it's just time changing.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that they replicated designs. I think they replicated it as best as they could, but I also think they modernized it in a way where it definitely pays homage to the original, but I feel like they went above and beyond, and I think they went in their own direction, which is probably for the best. Because I mean, listen, I love the '90s cartoons, both the X-Men and Spider-Man, but like animation wise, it's a bit dated, I mean, there's some aspects of those shows.
That's fair.
There's some moments you're like,
I still love it, but you could tell the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
they're
could tell
on
at
a
points
budget and time
they were
crunch.
finding ways to cut
Yeah.
on certain
Yeah.
things.
One of my favorite pieces of trivia, though, is with the Spider-Man cartoon. I'm sure you guys know about this. But because of the network and because of the merchandising,
Yeah.
Spider-Man was not allowed to throw any punches. He could only
Nope.
do kicks.
Wow.
And like,
Yeah.
and when you're watching it, you never notice that until someone points it out to you because you're just so into the show. But it's like, yeah, Spider-Man never throws a punch.
Yeah.
He only
There
does
were-
kicks.
There were other characters that were allowed to throw punches, but not him. It was either a kick or like either he grabbed somebody or just used a web.
Yeah. No punches,
Yeah.
though. So
Yeah.
funny.
That's weird.
It is. It is weird.
That's strange.
It was censors at the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the
boy.
stupidest sense I've ever heard in my life, though.
Spider-Man can't punch. Yeah.
Which, I
How
mean,
the
you
fuck
know,
do you
couldn't
make a
stab
show?
people.
I guess with how strong the character is, you know, the punch would realistically do a lot of damage. So maybe they didn't want to show that.
Fair point. I was going to ask everyone who came in, RJ. I have a question for you.
Sure.
A very big question.
Okay.
Who do you think spread the X-Men across time at the end of the show?
I want to say it's Apocalypse himself. Because just the way that the ending was constructed, I feel like they were really trying to push the Apocalypse thing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're going in the direction of like Age of Apocalypse and like some other stories. Because like they're merging a couple different stories from the comics and like one broader narrative across time, right?
Yeah.
I could see it being Apocalypse who wants to manipulate things in order to do something, right? Because you basically have an Apocalypse storyline going on in each time period.
Yeah.
most
In
likely.
Sabanur. Yeah.
Savanor, yep.
Yeah, and then you got present day where he's going to resurrect Gambit as Death, which that's from the comics. Which by the way, I kind of figured that's what they were going to do. I was just waiting for that. It's like, well, is that going to be something that they reveal now or later? And obviously, they revealed it now. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So.
And
It
you get
is-
the future stuff.
Yeah, and then just the way he like it's also it's Ross Marquardt, who the voice of Professor X, does the voice of Apocalypse.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, so Ross does the voice of Apocalypse. He's not the voice of Insabanur in the flashback. He's the voice of present day Apocalypse. But the way like so much pain, my children. It's like that God complex he has, which is like next level. I think we're all under the same belief that Onslaught's coming. It's just when. It's not if, it's gonna be when.
I'll be honest. That was one of the big things that threw me for a loop. I figured we were gonna get Apocalypse, but I figured that what they were gonna do at the end of season 1 with the final episode is, oh, we're gonna see Onslaught. Onslaught's what they're gonna tease, right? And instead they went with the teases for Apocalypse, right? Because with the Fatal Attraction storyline, it leads up to Onslaught. That's what it does, right? It sets the stage for Onslaught. So
Yeah.
we're getting it. It's just a matter of when.
We were discussing like the idea of like in season 1 here, we had Bastion teased up and then the reveal. Onslaught's already been teased, so we know that's kind of the focus. But the idea of teeing up Onslaught to be the reveal at the end of season 2, leading into season 3, which we know they're doing.
Right. Yeah, and that's also the big discussion too, because season 2 was already written, and then obviously for season 3, Bo DeMayo would not be the showrunner or the writer for season 3. Season 2, they already got all the scripts done. They're already at work doing the editing and some animatics for it. So
Yeah, and I'm assuming at this point they're not going to change much. I feel like since it's already there, and the fact is they're gonna credit, and they already paid Bo for the work, so it's not like, why do we need to go back and add more money to this budget when we've already done it?
right, there's no sense in doing anything over. Did you guys see though that Brad Winderbaum, who I guess is like the Feige for Marvel television,
Producer?
Yeah.
he did like this big interview about season 1, talking about the future of the show, right? And the big thing he said to me that I thought was interesting is that they're going to honor the spirit of what Bo did for season 2, which I'm like, what does that mean? You're keeping stuff? I imagine that does.
They're probably keeping all
just
of it.
the wording. Like they didn't want to directly say that they're keeping the scripts.
Yeah, they might make slight alterations, but I bet it's going to be pretty much because the way they worded it, and I think it's in that same interview or some other interview with him, they asked about Apocalypse, and they said, well, that on Bo's mind, that was pretty much what he wanted to get to at the end was
Right.
Apocalypse at the end.
Because from what Bo said on Twitter, I think he said that the idea for this revival was it was going to be a 5-season revival. So
5
I think
seasons.
so.
Yep.
Yep.
Fucking crazy.
yeah, which that's insane to think about. That in his mind he planned out a 5-season story arc, right?
Oh yeah.
The MCU's done that with the 5-year plans, whatnot. So it's just like,
Yep.
fits,
And
fits
And
this-
then we saw DC try and fail to do it with a 10-year plan.
Well, they have a new one now. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
he's-
I want to say this.
I will say though, the one thing I will say though about the whole Bo Tomato thing is that I think he did incredible work on this season, right? But I
Yes.
cannot comfortably ask for him to come back until I know what he was fired for. If that makes sense, I like the fanboy in me wants him to come back and just be where he was and just do the 5-season plan as is. But I just don't know. Like that's what the whole situation with his firing is still baffling to me because we still have not got an actual reason. There's like the speculation as to why, but not an official word. It's just
I think if it was something major, then Brad would never have mentioned his name. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I feel like I don't know. It's a
yeah.
weird, tricky thing.
It is.
He's not he's not hot take Phil, but he's Phil Pull.
Hey.
Hey, hello.
Hey,
Sorry,
Phil,
I'm late.
That's okay.
no worries.
It's okay. I was late too.
How you doing, Phil?
I'm okay. I'm all right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dealing with
But
some
that's
family
just
stuff,
where
but
my
I'll be
head's
okay.
Like
Good.
until I know why he left or why he got fired, I can't necessarily call for him to come back because I don't want it to age like sour milk. Is what I'm trying to get at. You know.
Fair point.
Yeah, I like him be doing now, just thanking him for the work at present. But other than that, I can't. Yeah, I can't commit to like,
Mhm.
whoa, do this
Yeah,
one.
because he even
so
said
much
I
stuff
think
we
he
don't
said-
know yet.
Yeah, because I think he even said on social media like he's not the only person behind this show. Like, yes, he's the
No.
main writer and the showrunner, but like the other people are what's making the show good too. It's not like everyone else sucks and he's the only bright spot in the room. You know?
I want to say this. I want to give a shout out to Charlie Feldman, to JB Ballard, and Anthony Saletti. They're the other writers who wrote on this season. And a shout out to Jake Castorena, to Chase Conley, and to Emmy Emmett Unemura, who are the directors of the season. Whatnot. Like they should be recognized as much as Bew has been applauded throughout these 2 months and whatnot.
Mm.
Yeah. You said, Jake, I think if I shut me up for a second. I was like, what did I do? I was like, I didn't do anything that I know of at any rate.
You talk too much.
I mean, I did get this. I did get this nifty pilot script, but that's a different story.
You know that old saying about comedians telling the joke more than once and it getting old? Yeah, that's you in that script, Jake.
Hot takes are coming in.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey,
So-
I brought it up because of what we were in. You know, it's a discussion for that, so I figured might as well do it. It was right here next to me, anyways.
That's convenient.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Phoenix showing up at the last minute. That was pretty convenient too.
Yeah, it was convenient.
Yeah.
But,
it
you
was
know,
cool though.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. I'm
I'll
not
give it
calling it a
that.
Been
slight.
teased.
Not calling it a
Yeah,
slight
that
at
was
all.
the funny part too. Like Gene's all like I think the Phoenix is now fully gone. I'm like, that's
Bullshit.
what's howdy.
Yeah.
That's not how the Phoenix works. Everyone knows that.
So Phil, I've been asking everybody who's come in, who do you think spread the X-Men across time at the end? Think about it.
Kevin Feige.
Kevin Feige.
Yeah, it's all
It was Kevin.
It was Agatha all along.
It was
Oh.
Agatha, probably.
No. Immediately, my immediate answer would probably be present day Apocalypse. That would be my immediate answer.
I mean, I think it
All
makes
right.
most sense with what he's planning.
Right.
I also do have the idea because
Well, the thing that really cements that for me, right, is the way that episode deliberately ended with one team in 3000 BC, where they meet Enstabadner, and then you have Jean and Scott in the far future with young Nathan, which I'm actually really excited to see where that goes. That's actually really fucking cool.
Yeah, do you know who the mother is, by the way? If you read the comics, that the mother, the old lady's important.
I don't really remember too much. I haven't read too much.
You want me to say? Because
no.
Okay.
No, but I think the biggest indicator for me was when Apocalypse showed up at the remains of Genosha and picked up Gambit's card and said, so much destruction, so much pain, so much death. That to me feels like he's the one somehow, some way, who split them up and set them all across different points in time. I'm very, very curious to see where that falls, and I'm not sure if it's pulling from the Age of Apocalypse storyline, because I own a handful of X-Men stuff. I've only got Grant Morrison's New X-Men and House of M. That's the only thing I physically own. So I'm deeply considering getting a Marvel Unlimited subscription and reading through a lot of the Claremont stuff and a lot of, some of the 80s and 90s X-Men, just to get a broad idea of where they're probably going.
Well, right now, I'm not sponsored. I just want to mention this because I keep seeing the Facebook ad. But you can actually subscribe right now for 99 cents for Marvel Limited. It's like $1. So
that's cool. Okay.
There you go.
Nice.
We're gonna bring him in. Darren is here. Welcome, sir.
Hello.
Hey.
How's it going?
What's
Hanging
up,
out, man. Hanging out. A question to you as well. Who do you think spread the X-Men across? Like Phil was saying, Apocalypse. Do you think it's Apocalypse?
I think it's Squirrel Girl. I think that's the obvious
Yes!
answer.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know X-Men comics that well, but like Apocalypse would make sense. If with how it ended, it would make sense if they're kind of the main villain of next season or whatever it may be.
Yeah. I just kind of have a theory in the back of my mind that they're going to do something different from that, because Apocalypse feels like the safe answer to go with there.
Sure.
I just feel like in the back of my mind, they're going to pull something different.
Well, someone's saying Bastion showed he had cable time travel tech when he fought Rogue, so Bastion ran right into the core. So maybe,
because I don't think this is the last we're going to see at Bastion. I just don't. He'll come back.
No, definitely not.
I like that Bastion basically became the Adolf Hitler of X-Men 97.
Pretty much.
That's pretty much what he was. Adolf Hitler hated Jewish people. In this series, Bastion is more or less a technopathical mutant, and he hates mutants. He's basically mutant Hitler.
The reveal that his mom was a hybrid, I'm like, oh god. I mean, it makes sense with his mom, but like, it was just the way they did it. She's like, "How can you help me up? Here's the painting. It's the Great Wish or whatever they called it." I'm like, what? Or the last, whatever it was called, that the painting that showcased basically what happened on Genosha.
Yeah,
like,
well, Hitler was an artist.
Yeah.
So that. I mean,
I'm just pointing out parallels, okay? That's all I'm doing. That's what I'm here for.
When did Adolf grow like wings and fly it to the moon, and like when did that happen?
Well, clearly right before the fall of Germany in 1945.
I forgot about that.
That's why we can't find his body. It's probably fucking frozen on the moon or something.
That's not canon anymore.
It is canon now. Apparently, based on Phil's version of history.
No, if I had any questions for anyone who worked on 97, the obvious answer for why they weren't available is obvious, but I really just kind of want a concrete, definitive answer. It's so jarring to me that they included Captain America and Iron Man protecting the president, and Doctor Strange operating on people, no Deadpool, and I'm like.
No.
That we were told they were off limits, but I'm like, well, you still use these fucking characters in very small capacity. Like, your Marvel Studios, you are now effectively in the same position that Warner Brothers and DC are in. You have access to literally the majority of your characters. What is the fucking problem here? Why can we not see Deadpool? Why can we not see the Avengers? Why can we not see Thor? Why can't we see all these fucking people? I mean, they might be holding off for, future storylines. I could definitely see Avengers versus X-Men happening somewhere down the line if they get that far. I could absolutely see that being a possibility. But I think that they might also be holding off because they might want, some level of synergy happening. I think they might want the X-Men to appear in the MCU before they go in an animated clash from it in X-Men 97. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
And that's the question I would ask.
Bo DeMeo did say, like, yeah, Deadpool was completely off limits. Like, they weren't allowed to use him, which
It's
is
so
weird.
fucking weird.
I
It's
think
so
that was
weird.
You would
that was the
think they
one
would hype
character
up
that
this
pissed me
movie
off.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
and
an
he
angle.
was the only
Yeah.
character they were told they can't use, which is
Yeah.
also
If they used Omega Red, I'm shocked that they wouldn't go with
Yeah.
Deadpool.
And
And
that
Right.
random shot of Omega Red at first, like, what the fuck? And then you see him next episode, like,
There's two.
why is Omega Red here?
Do
Yeah,
you think
it's like-
so my theory
Yeah.
is, and again, this is just a theory, so I could totally be wrong, but my theory might be that maybe Disney wants to just make Deadpool exclusively an adult character. They don't want him to appear in anything that like is geared towards PG-13.
Okay, but here's the problem
Or-
with that. This is a TV 14 TV show, and we've seen Deadpool cameo in the original X-Men series. There's no rhyme or reason why they could not have included Deadpool in some capacity.
Oh no,
On
I
top of that,
agree. No, I agree. I'm just saying that might be Disney's logic. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think that's.
But like with
I don't
that
know.
logic, then you also couldn't be like the Avengers or whatever. Like he can only ever appear in Deadpool movies, and that's it. And that'd suck.
Yeah.
Like I want to see him interact with Spider-Man someday, or freaking Captain America or whatever. Like
And if
Well, I'll
they're worried
even
about the
go further on the
violence,
Deadpool.
Logan did stab Magneto, and we got that on 4K.
Mhm.
yeah,
That is
Well,
true.
well,
That is true.
I'll even go further on the Deadpool point and say that when he was first introduced as a character, he wasn't constantly vulgar when he was introduced. He
Yeah.
would say the stupidest things that would constitute his comedies, like holy chimichangas or something like that. Like it was
Yeah.
stupid, but it was funny. He wasn't constantly vulgar all the time, so you could still use him in a PG sense like that.
yeah.
Oh no, yeah, you 100% could. I don't disagree with that. I just wonder
don't-
what the logic was, because I wanted to bring this up too. There was the controversy with the finale with so I guess Bo DeMeo also said on Twitter that he was asked a question about Black Panther, and the big thing that he said was like
It's
why
T'Chaka.
was it T'Chaka and not T'Challa? Because in the Fantastic Four cartoon, which is supposedly canon, it was T'Challa's Black
T'Challa.
Panther.
Yeah.
He said,
Right.
I can't answer to that, which basically means he has no control over that. That's another
That
thing. that's
little
like,
bit of
okay.
Black Panther you saw in the original show, did they ever say which Black Panther that was?
They did. In the
They-
original
he-
Fantastic Four cartoon, it was
He
T'Challa.
just said it was
Oh,
T'Challa.
But not in the
Yeah.
X-Men one.
No, I meant that little glimpse of him you saw in the original X-Men series.
In the foreground, right?
Yeah.
When he's in the hill or some mountain,
Yeah.
just looking at what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know if
That
they
was
ever said
never
which one
line. That was just Larry Houston without permission doing that, which is so
Yeah.
metal.
which I found kind of funny. Yeah.
Yeah, that was so metal.
Yeah. So
So
again,
that-
one of those things were just
So
like,
fun fact: the Dora Milaje were not present when X-Men initially aired.
Mhm.
Their addition into this was entirely brand new.
Oh, that's
The design
I-
looks like it's right out of a Coolers movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's intentional.
yeah.
Sorry that I
But
was
I'm
muted
not
for.
thinking-
Sorry that I was
That's
muted
alright.
for a second, guys. Just found out our offer got accepted for a house.
There you
go.
Hey,
There you go.
I was assuming something
Let's
big was
fucking
happening with
go.
the mute.
Huh.
House party. I'm just kidding.
Oh Jesus!
I saw someone in the chat mention like it's jarring to see me without facial hair. That's because I have a job interview on Tuesday,
Ooh.
so I had to shave my
He's
shit off.
got to look fancy.
Are you interviewing to be like a Pokemon collector?
IT,
Oh, nice.
Same thing. So same thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Same
okay.
thing. Yeah.
more or
Same
less.
thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah,
okay.
so
I'm okay
Draven's
with
watching the
fire.
show right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, he's watching the
Oh.
show now. He's catching up.
He's
now.
watching our show and he's watching this. He's watching X-Men 97 as he watches this.
Yeah,
Showception.
Which is better though?
oh, that's a good question. What?
That's the question.
I
What's
think
it
Raven,
better?
Why are you?
you get
God,
both
what would the
the
Rotten
best of both
Tomatoes
worlds.
rating on
He's
Council be?
Raven.
What would the Rotten Tomatoes rating on Council be?
I mean, I think our ratings are probably better.
The audience
Oh,
score is
yeah.
way better than the critic score.
Yeah.
That's probably true.
That's my guess.
But again, with all the stuff that
People keep
wasn't
coming
allowed
back.
for the show, I'm okay with it because
Oh sure,
it didn't
They did a
bring
lot.
down.
it didn't.
the-
It didn't hinder any excitement. It's
Yeah.
just one of those like, why? It's just
Yeah.
one of those why questions. Not like a detriment to the show as a whole, but it's just
Right.
one of those things.
Right.
What was your guys' favorite episode?
Ooh,
Mm,
goddamn.
damn. That's tough.
5.
It's
I think.
easy. It's
Oh, five?
easy to go to five.
Five is
Yeah.
one of mine, definitely.
I think just due to like shock factor, like it like set a precedence of like what this like it turned into a new type of show for me. Like, oh, they can go way further than I thought they were going to be able to.
Right.
It's hard.
I really liked episode 2. So because
Yeah,
you not
Kate
only
Bane.
saw like a new side of Storm, showing her power the way they did,
Bro.
that episode was just full of hard hitting dialogue.
I think Magneto's speech is one for the books. Yeah.
Really the
Don't
case for
make
the
me
whole
Do
let
show.
you
not
down.
let me
Yeah.
let you down.
And then that Storm dialogue where it's like, do not think, listen to me if you want to live. It's like, okay, she is not screwing around anymore.
But even the lack of dialogue to me, what made I'm pretty sure I cried. But it's when she reaches out and you're like, shit.
Yeah,
more
she's
powers.
trying.
Yeah.
And she's
She's
like, I can't
begging.
feel the wind.
She's
Yeah.
begging for
Fuck.
nature to connect with her. It's like,
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
pissed. I was
Um,
fucking pissed, man.
I guess we can let him in. Omni Media.
Oh
Hey!
what's up?
I mean,
no.
by
Yeah,
no
Darren's
obligation
so
do you need
disappointed.
to. I could just sit back and listen to everybody have fun. It's all
Darren's
good.
so disappointed.
What we asked for you
Also,
came in favorite
Darren.
episode.
Oh, yeah. Probably the
I don't-
finale.
I mean,
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
good.
Pretty
I
damn
don't.
good,
I
yeah.
honestly don't know, but that may be the right answer.
This is like one of the rare shows in a while where I'm like, almost every episode was on the same level for me. Like outside
Yeah.
of maybe that one episode, which I still thought was
Mondo.
good. Yeah, like I like that episode, but like I feel like this is every other episode, and then like that one's
Yeah,
right there. Like it's,
you know-
it's
like how
which
they
one was
even-
that, Darren?
The bar goes from good
Which one was that?
to fantastic.
mm,
That's where the
episode
bar goes.
4, I think it was.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
4.
kind of like that one because
I do too. Yeah,
it gave all the callbacks to the X-Men arcade game, and just as a joke, I would have loved if they did this. I don't know if you guys ever played that game before, but whenever you see Magneto show up and there's that line where he says "Welcome to die." I would have loved if they called back to that. I mean, it was like the one thing that would have completed it for me. But I liked the episode otherwise.
I haven't said it yet, not yet, but I will say it.
He's holding it. It's up to his
I'm waiting for that Disney paycheck.
But what
You
a
got to build up to that.
You're gonna be waiting a while, man.
You can pay
But
yourself
what a
royalty
good
fees.
to have the Mondo episode before episode 5. Yeah, I feel after episode 5, it would have felt off.
Yeah,
I
it
had
would've
a
felt
good thing
nice,
that happened
yeah.
before it because it's like, okay, cool, fun, and then it's just like, watch out.
Imagine it's 6.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. Like when something bad normally happens to characters, and when something good has just happened right before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
like,
think-
they did it in a good way.
I like how it called back into the finale too with her destructo disc
Yeah.
cutting off his
And-
wings.
Yeah.
People had an issue with her going down the beat, and I was like, hell no. She took him out, and the Sentinel head brought him down, which is a cool callback to when she had to face off Sentinels when she was introduced to the show. And that's
Right.
just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Right.
nah, man. And I liked them on the episode because she got a cool moment to like be a teenager and
Sure.
find someone who she likes and whatnot. And I thought it was so sweet. And the fact that we got, I believe her name is Allison Court, OG Jubilee back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it was very
that was-
sweet.
that was very
that we
cool.
brought it back and
Yeah.
whatnot, and then they hugged it out and whatnot. And
And then what was
Yeah,
the name of
man.
the future? What was the name of the older version of her? I forget the actual
um,
character's name.
Sentia, something like that. I forget what it was.
Yeah,
but
I-
she was full on Mad Max,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That was
When you see them team up with the beams together against the thing at the end, it's like that is cool.
Hercules.
Basically, yeah.
I definitely want to know more about that that's in the flashback. In
What
the
is it?
3000 BC.
The hell was that?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
My windows
very
are
awesome.
But
I'm not
the-
exactly
the
sure.
dome. But I want to know.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
the
big-
dome. And
that-
then the base is like, oh dear.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
dear.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think it's got to be something to do with Ensabonner or
I don't
something else
think they
entirely.
started around it because the original 90s show
No.
made a they didn't have to. I mean, they
What?
fucked up.
German, and you hear the boots when he's having the PTSD moment with,
yeah, they
with,
definitely
with
put
Charles.
that in there.
They didn't.
They
skirt
even
around
show his fucking tattoo.
it. Yeah,
They,
yeah.
they
made a
show his
point-
Holocaust
the-
tattoo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the numbers. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
made a big deal out of his heritage. Like it wasn't like it was
It's
ignored.
a big like he even says it's a callback to the original series too at the end. Fuck, what is it? He's having that conversation with Charles, and he's basically like, oh damn it, what is the fucking phrase? It's a callback to the initial series. people talk with peace and others speak with some shit like that.
Oh,
That
there's
my,
like
my
violence,
village,
yeah,
my
something like
village
that.
used diplomacy or something like that, and then like while others used tanks.
That.
Yeah,
to get
That's
to
what
them.
it is, Roman. Thank you. Yes, Ronan.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that's it.
And again,
100%.
it's I don't know. I mean, for me, I felt it, and the fact that how much to me what hit harder was when he put up on the crucifixion that they
Mhm.
zoom in on the tattoo. To
They
let
do.
you know this is why this fool has a chip on his shoulder that is valid at all points,
Mhm.
and sadly keeps getting proven right. Like to me, that was the most aching part of all the series when I keep hearing the boots. When I heard the boots and the chains that you told me when he says they will be avenged, and he throws a train
Mhm.
to the Sentinel.
Yeah.
It's very
Whew.
yeah, we know what we know.
Yeah.
He's not just yelling that for mutants, he's yelling that for something way more
Layers.
personal. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
and
layers of
you
it.
can hear it in the delivery too.
Yeah.
And he
Like,
says to Leech, "Don't be afraid" in German.
That's true. He does say that in German. You're right. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. My favorite episode's a tough tie. Like, I think it's between 2 and 5. I
Mhm.
think the best made episode is probably 3. The one where they have Madeline Pryor turn full Goblin
Sure.
Queen and
Oh yeah,
fucking
that was
wreck
great.
house.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Really?
That was beautiful all around. I think that is like the best made episode. But like favorite
Yeah.
one, yeah, it's got to be.
That was a
it's
horror episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to be like episode 2. I think Magneto's speech really still fucking sits with me.
So good. Yeah.
8 weeks
I like
later.
Bright Eyes. I like the episode when we
Charles
find
Xavier?
Too.
Yeah.
when Rogue. No. Bright Eyes.
No,
is
that's
when-
7. That's the
when
one after that. Yeah.
When Rogue unleashes hell.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah. That's
to
good
me,
too.
I think the scene, episode 5 is the one that we're gonna be talking about. But for me, I don't know why it hit me. Maybe this is why. But like when I saw Rogue in Mexico and it's Day of the Dead, and the first person that goes to comfort her is her brother.
Brother Nightcrawler.
Yeah, that's
And
so good.
and again, maybe I'm looking it the wrong way, but because everywhere else, people, government, military, or people were looking down at mutants. But the fact that in Mexico on Day of the Dead, no Mexican person looked wrong at them or was like telling them to get out or not. The fact that she had a moment to mourn, and that as she's crying to Kurt's shoulders, the rest of the team shows up. And then I was like, this is why I gave a shit about these folks, man. Like,
That's
I was
why.
like,
Yeah, that's
fuck,
why.
man.
Yeah. I love how we got to see a little more between those two characters because,
So good.
like I was saying before, you had when they first got introduced as siblings in the original show, like when the whole thing with them and Graydon Creed was kind of brought to a head, it hits you hard because, Nightcrawler is like, he's learning that like his own brother wants to wipe him out and his mother didn't want him. She abandoned him. So he's just taking one gut punch in after the other. And you see him and Rogue continue to just bond and care for each other the same way that Nightcrawler does. Maybe not the same way, but like the same sort of affection and care that he showed towards somebody like Wolverine in that original
With the
series
faith.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And
Such a good
the
episode.
fact that he got Logan to, I think it's in his introduction episode in that original series where you hear Logan praying at the end. It's
Yeah.
like he really had an effect on this guy.
Yeah.
And Rogue was there. She saw him
Yeah,
whatnot and
yeah,
cheered up
yeah,
because, like, wow,
yeah.
even him found a moment of peace and whatnot. And Bright Eyes was the moment where Rogue, in essence, killed somebody. She killed somebody, and Morph was like, "What the fuck? This is
Yeah.
who we are now."
Yeah.
And then it was that episode
And
when
Wolverine, and
and
Wolverine
people-
was like, she did the thing we all wanted to do.
Yeah, it was like we all wanted this.
And it was the thing
Yeah.
to where people were like saying, if this was some other character, you would be playing like, well,
But it's not.
understand where are these characters at that moment when that occurred? I mean, with Rogue,
It's probably
I
at
mean-
her darkest point.
Dude,
yeah.
even Cyclops was just like,
and
Yeah.
the thing, and
Yeah.
people said Jean could have stopped it. Yeah, but did she? She chose
Nope.
not to.
Yeah.
She chose.
She chose to not intervene and stop the falling.
Yeah.
Because Jean could easily stopped him from falling, but he didn't die. Obviously, he was. But
Right.
see, he would have died.
that reveal was dope.
Yeah,
It was.
that
Where he
that
was a
cool.
fucking super set. Oh my god.
That
was
fight was
dope as
amazing.
fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Remember
Cable
that
comes in and
episode?
saved their ass at the end. That was great too.
Yeah.
That episode, Gyrick gets strangled.
Yep.
Mhm.
Remember that?
Oh yeah, that one was.
Yeah.
And there's moments of bits in that episode with the diet drink and them all stuck in the elevator with more
Yep.
drinking. And then,
Yeah.
what about poor man Oppenheimer
Yeah.
there on the roof or on the
Yeah.
edge?
Which episode
Yeah.
was
It's
like
like
bring to Nightcrawler fight scene? Was that also 7?
That's
What
that
8.
was
That's 8.
Which one?
8, I think, arguably has the best fight scenes inside the show because obviously,
9, my
like,
friend, 9.
yeah, like you
I'll
had
agree
that
with
sequence,
that.
and then you had like when Logan's falling from the sky and he's just like slicing the Sentinels.
Yeah.
Dude, did anybody get
Yeah.
nervous
God.
when Nightcrawler was having that moment against Bastion in the
Yes.
finale?
Oh yes.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh god, he's popping all over the place. This is too cool. What's gonna happen? you better not
feel
hurt.
like he's gonna
You
catch
better
him at
not
some
hurt my
point.
boy.
Like you feel
It
like
felt
he's
like
gonna
when-
catch
Yeah,
him.
know,
I thought
there
for another.
there was
dying,
a
to
there
be
was
honest.
there was a moment when Bastion got all of them and had them held by Sentinels, and he like cuts Beast, and I was like, "Don't you fucking do it! Don't you dare! Don't you fucking take my boy!"
Yeah.
It's like you already took Gambit from me. I can't have this too.
I think that's the
No,
point
right.
of this show is that after the death of Gambit,
Anyone. Yeah.
Anyone,
no
anyone
one was
else-
better
safe,
off.
and I
Right.
think that
No pun
scared.
intended.
I think that collectively scared everybody because, like,
Yeah.
oh, they're gonna bring back Gambit with time travel. It's
No.
apocalypse, but
Whoa, whoa,
like
whoa.
Yeah.
anybody could die because essentially, if someone dies in the future or in the past, who's gonna bring them back?
Yeah.
Like, okay, if someone dies in 3000 BC, like say hypothetically Beast dies back then, is
Mhm.
Insabanur gonna bring it back? No.
Probably not.
It's
Nope.
gonna be permanent. So like literally, and I think a lot of those deaths in Genosha are permanent. They're never gonna bring those characters back.
That
Yeah.
bugs
Oh,
me
I think
out.
so. Yeah.
I want a Dazzler back.
Because
Yeah,
there
the
needs
only-
to be stakes if they're going to do that. Like it needs to have an
Yeah,
impact.
True.
So the real
True.
question is, which timeline did Wolverine end up in?
That's what we were talking about earlier. Like
Yeah.
it's Wolverine, Morph, and Storm. We don't know where they ended up.
Mm.
Right.
And someone brought it up. They're the other 3 horsemen that Apocalypse is going to use.
Yep.
Yeah, because there were
Oh.
5 X-Men there.
Well, 5 in the BC, but there's
Or
also only
5,
2 in
yeah.
the future. So maybe they're there. But what if Gambit's death, the rest of the 3 are become horsemen?
Yeah.
Well, in the
Which
comics, Wolverine gets his adamantium back by way of Apocalypse.
Yep.
So in that
Yeah, when-
essence, that means the X-Men
when you
and
became
the
Death.
and the larger Marvel universe are fucked. If that's their 4 options, because you got Morph, Storm, Wolverine, and Gambit.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah, like
spread
it's-
across time.
Right.
Yeah,
Is
like
Spider-
I said, you
How's
thought-
Spider-Man going to fight Morph alone when he can just switch? Like how? Good luck.
Oh, speaking of Spider-Man, he finally found Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have rather not had that spoiled, but like maybe just show him, like just show Peter alone, maybe. But if they're gonna bring, like you say, they bring 98 back or whatnot, I don't want that to be the main point of that first season because you already
It'll
know
have
it's
to be,
happened.
though.
Like
It'll
you already
have to
know it's
be.
happened.
I would have preferred him fighting alongside Daredevil, fighting some.
I kind of
Yeah.
half expected that.
They're
I half
right.
expected
Yeah.
it to be Daredevil,
Because you saw
Spider-Man,
them
Cloak
come
and
up
Dagger.
before.
Yeah, Cloak and Dagger was amazing, by the way. I
That was
love
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
that was cool.
Ooh.
And and you saw that Spider-Man team up with Daredevil before, so it would have made sense.
That's why I think they
don't
should have
know
done
for
that.
everyone to get to Spider-Man 98. So I mean, listen, at least there was a resolution to that story, right? They
Yes.
offered something.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
I just don't know if we're gonna get a spot. Because like, I know it's the popular thing of like, oh, they should do a Spider-Man 98 or like continue all these shows, but it's just like,
Yeah.
I have it on very
The
good
thing that was
authority that Spider-Man 98 is not on the table at the moment.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
know.
think we'd get other shows way before we would get that show. Like I'd see like maybe like an Avenger show before we get Spider-Man. Just
Well,
due to
here's the
rights
kicker.
and stuff like
Here-
that.
Here's the kicker. The only reason it's not happening is because they already have a Spider-Man show in production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they don't
that's
do
where the
two at
focus
once.
kind of is.
They'd have to wait a couple years, I think.
Yep.
Well, considering we don't even know how long that show's going to last either.
Well, I mean, I hope it's good. I
I
mean,
think
it
it's
looks
2 seasons, right?
It's something like
At
that.
least, yeah.
You know,
Just
it
bring
looks
him back
good.
for Beyond the Spider-Verse then. If you won't
Oh,
get the
just
show-
wait. Just wait. Toxic Marvel fans will bitch and moan that it's too Tom Hollandy, and then fucking Marvel will probably axe it
Yeah.
after a second season, and then they'll do
Yeah.
Spider-Man 98.
Yeah.
Just wait.
It'll be fine though. We get it back though.
I do think
Yeah.
it's really sad that like it has like we've seen no actual footage for that show, and then everyone's like, "It's terrible. It sucks. We don't want this." Like, I
Based
get
on
you
what?
want like 98, but like give it a chance. Like, let's see
Yeah.
actual footage from the
Yeah.
damn thing.
Well, and
It
that's
could
the
be our
thing.
new favorite thing. We don't know. You know?
the thing, right? Because not to bring this up, like not to bring him up, just to bring him up, but like it's pertinent to the conversation. But like that, someone asked James Gunn on Threads, "Hey, why don't you bring back Justice League?"
Yeah, I saw that.
97. He's like, the reason X-Men 97 is successful is because it's not doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. If you bring back every show, it's no longer special.
You can't even bring back Justice League at this point. It's pointless to try and do it without Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
That is one of the pillars of why that even happened.
And didn't it end like really well? Like it kind
did.
of wrapped everything up, right?
It does.
Unlimited ended beautifully, yes.
So Unlimited ended on two different notes because you had Superman go completely ham on Darkseid after he killed fucking Perry White. And then you had the epilogue episode where Batman Beyond gets all tied up. It was great. Fantastic show. Don't revisit it. The next best thing, the next best piece of competition that will give X-Men 97 at least the two things that I think are going to be in the conversation of like, oh, this was good and this was also just as good. Batman Cape Crusader.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
Yeah. And speaking of Conroy, I think he had lines for that, didn't he?
We don't know.
I don't think so.
No.
I know for Crisis.
The rumor is that he's Thomas Wayne, but that's not confirmed.
No.
As far as I know, Bruce Timm said he couldn't get him for Cape Crusader.
Yeah, that's what he said too. Like
that was
the plan.
For Crisis, he has lines.
Yeah.
But it could be taken from other projects.
Yeah.
I just hope if they couldn't get him, then at least for me, the next person I would give the mantle that way is Bruce Greenwood.
Same here. Yeah, I was thinking that too, because he was phenomenal in Young Justice in the Red Hood movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love Gotham by Gaslight. Love it.
Let's not do that, Tyler. Let's just not.
Yeah. Just double it and give it to the next person.
Also, even though I grow more fond of the voice, Roger Craig Smith from Arkham Origins.
Oh yeah, Roger Craig Smith's also.
He wasn't bad.
Yeah. And he's doing the voice of the new Batman VR game.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Because when that was announced, I was like, who the fuck is going to voice Batman? Because it ain't going to be Kevin Conroy. So
did they say where it is in the timeline though?
It's a prequel after Arkham Origins.
What?
Yeah, it's a prequel. I'm pretty sure.
Wait, everything or after Origins?
I think it's after Origins.
So it's after Origins, but before Asylum.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know they said it was 5 years between that originally, but I think Rocksteady retconned it to say it was like 8 to 10 years before then, because 5 years just doesn't make any sense for all that to happen in between.
Yeah, well, they also treat Arkham Origins like the black sheep. They don't like to acknowledge.
They didn't make Arkham Origins.
Nope.
Yeah, makes sense.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They don't like to acknowledge it.
Yeah, they played nice a little bit with them. It's like, hey, we'll mention some stuff that happens, but we're going to give a more reasonable timetable for it.
Speaking of mentioning stuff, I don't know if anybody's brought it up yet, because we're talking about Spider-Man and Batman and Avengers and Deadpool. We got Dr. Doom.
Mm-hmm.
And
Zemo,
y'all.
And
like, that was the minute
Zemo
I heard Doom with the video action, I was like, holy shit. I was like, what the fuck? I was like,
and
all right.
Morph turned into Reed Richards too. That was dope as fuck.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
No, it was so random, but it was cool.
Yeah. So much
and then during that scene where Doom and Zemo were talking, there's a random woman silhouette talking, be like, who is that? And Bo's like, it's just some Senate woman. Like, no, I'm like, we thought it was some big thing. No, it's not. No, it's just thrown into the same scene. Like, oh, okay, it's nothing really important.
I thought for a moment it might have been Lucy Bombardis.
There's a question right there.
I know, where is she?
Mystique is interestingly absent throughout the entirety of this first season.
People keep saying she's Dr. Cooper.
Ah, man, I've seen that, but after this season, I'm like, no.
I think if it was Cooper, we would have known by the end of the season, honestly.
Yeah, because that was my big suspicion the entire time.
Yeah.
That would make for a nice season 2 reveal. I'll say that much.
What were we going to say, Darren?
I just wonder with both of her like kids like through time, if then she'll be like, where are they? Should I look into this or whatever?
Oh, like she'll finally show up and
like
where the fuck are my kids?
Like,
they didn't come home for dinner.
Graydon back, you know.
I
actually
think...
did they ever say what happened to him?
Who?
Or Graydon in the original series. I know the last time you saw him, he gets grabbed by Sabretooth, but I don't know if you see him again after that. Because that's
I know he got booted from the Friends of Humanity, but he's mentioned in the last episode. He says Graydon Creed, his polls rising as Senator Kelly's numbers are going down.
Right. Okay, I remember that one. Because I know the last time, like after the whole stuff with Rogue and Nightcrawler Mystique goes down, he gets tracked down by Sabretooth, and then it cuts, and then you don't see him.
Oh, I'm stressing
he's
the
mentioned
fuck
in the
out,
last
Draven.
episode.
I'm stressing the fuck out, Draven. I'm stressing out already. Jesus Christ.
It's okay,
No,
man. I'm telling you, house party.
Yeah, house party.
Yeah. So, do we know what was the last time we saw Juggernaut?
In the
Season
original
5?
series,
I think it was at beginning of season 5, right?
Morph turned into him in the new season, but
well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
that-
but where
that
is Juggernaut? Like, where's he been at
The
this whole
actual
time?
one.
Was it the episode where they explore the Satiric
Colossus?
gym where he got his powers transferred? Was that the last time you saw him?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
That was either end of season 4 or 5.
That was end of season 4 because season 5 started with the Phalanx.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was near the end of season 4 because they actually showed you that the random guy that I can't remember his name, but he found the stone and got the powers, and then they switched it and gave Kane the power back.
I like it.
And I believe that was the last time you saw him. Before that, it was him getting annihilated and thrown off of the island into the ocean, which was satisfying.
So do you guys still stand that, like, maybe if they do the Onslaught thing, that instead of it being Juggernaut, it'd be Apocalypse?
It'd be an awesome way to bring it back around.
Bo DeMaio outright said, "I'm neither confirming nor denying whether or not Onslaught will show up," and I'm like, "Oh, that's a pretty neat way of saying it." Yeah,
yeah. I mean, and they'll probably start teasing, like say he's their third season villain or whatnot. They could start teasing it as early as like the beginning of season 2.
I wait till back half. I want them to start explaining what the fuck they're doing with Apocalypse.
Considering that both Xavier and Charles are in 3000 BC, that's not coincidental.
That might mean, just thinking this through, because Onslaught took time to basically grow and become Onslaught.
Yeah,
that means with them being in that time period, it will become a reality, and then throughout the rest of the time up to present day, he appears.
Yeah, like that's the catalyst for it.
Because that makes sense.
Yep.
Because some people were saying, because I brought this up too, like the idea, because since we're exploring more of the Marvel universe, that Kang may have been involved, since he is tied with Ramatut back. Like there's a lot of connection to the timeline. So, but I don't think it is Kang.
Yeah,
but it would be interesting.
I had kind of an out there one, and I acknowledge this wouldn't make maybe the most sense, but I just threw it out there. I said, hey, what if it's Strife because of what they're doing with Cable? Because you see Strife in the Axis as one of the people that gets rescued in the end of season 4. He's one of the telepaths. So it's like, hey, what if they just pluck him in and bring him back? I'm not saying it's likely at all, but I just threw it out there.
Considering they did the Madeline Pryor thing, I would not doubt that Strife is on the table in some form.
It's possible, because I think that voiceless cameo where he was one of the people in the Axis time that got rescued, I think that's all you saw of him in that original series, if I'm not wrong. So if they were to bring him back into that way, that was kind of my bold prediction, but hey, if it happens, it happens.
Right.
Do we get the Watcher again?
Oh yeah.
Probably.
I thought he was in one of the episodes whenever you see the fireworks.
He was.
Go up.
Yeah,
he is. That's what I'm saying.
The idea is, if we see him again, be prepared, because something fucked up's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the only reason why he was there to watch all that shit go down.
Yeah.
And he's like, I interfere with timelines, but I'm not going to interfere with this one. I'm going to let this play out.
Yeah.
I wonder if
because that's not going to bleed outside of
not only that,
potentially.
Cable couldn't even do anything about that, because that turns out to be a fixed point in time.
Didn't he reveal he tried to stop it 200
times?
200 times, yeah.
Shit.
It's like, man.
And again, what a
the last time he tried it, he's just like running around. Stop the music! Stop the music! That was his only thing. Stop the music!
I like that part. Yeah.
This is the way he was doing it. He's like a crazy guy. Stop the music! Stop the music! Like that's all he was doing.
See, this show had good moments of of humor where like it was dropped in at the right moment. It wasn't forced. It was like a quick little thing. You got the laugh out, and then like the moments continued after that.
I was about to say, like, there's moments where it's humor and yet something deep or strong to come right after. Like another thing is when Emma Frost throws a jab at Cooper about like, what's wrong? Is it your dress? And I think I'm pretty sure right after it's when Cooper says, listen, the UN is not used to electing criminals to be leaders. And Magneto throws the line of like, well, how come so many of your leaders act like criminals?
Terrorists. They act like
Yeah.
terrorists. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, I saw that. I know that. Well, that's what that means. Why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Who knows? Maybe the Watcher does come back. Maybe it's gonna be really funny if anybody doing videos catches the Watcher in season 2, and then we're like, oh fuck, what's gonna happen now? Like, god damn it, what are you guys gonna do now to us with these characters?
I'm wondering if there's going to be carryover in like What If season 3. Like there was those rumors that there's going to be like a Storm episode or something like that. That'd be cool if like within that episode he references like, oh, I saw some doing whatever. If they wanted to reference that moment,
or like he goes, I saw a version of this. A world or something like I saw another Storm's world,
or he turns around from looking at that mirror to another one.
Anyway,
we see the Sentinel we see the Sentinel mowing shit, and he's just like, fascinating.
It's like, oh no,
and he turns around and leaves. It's like,
he's like, this is making me sad. I'm going to watch the story.
No, you see the gigantic colossal Sentinel just mowing shit down, and he's sitting there eating popcorn.
Yeah, or they just do the whole Loki meme where it's like, oh yeah, that's sad. Anyway,
moving on.
Oh man,
if you look very closely at that silhouette in the sky, you can see the outline of his bowl.
Yes,
he's just like,
yep.
he's like turning to Captain Carter. This is a great part. Watch this.
He's like, you seeing this?
Like, you see that girl down there? Yeah, she's not gonna be able to tell him that she actually chose him because he did.
Yeah,
it's a great moment. It's great.
Yeah.
When it happens, they're all passing tissues around.
I love how, I mean, obviously, going into that episode because of Gambit's famous phrase from the original series, the name is Gambit. As soon as I saw that title, it's like, okay, this is going to be a Gambit centric episode. Didn't know they were going to end it the way they did, but good detail.
I think that's.
I don't think anyone expected that to happen.
No one.
No one expected Gambit to go.
If this was just a nostalgia return to form show with no real stakes. No.
Yeah, it would not have had as big of an impact. No.
Oh, you would have had a Sentinels on Genosha, but that would not have happened, right? You'd be like, oh, okay, Sentinels got destroyed. Okay, you guys try to take out Genosha. We got no.
Nope.
It's funny that like Armageddon event took it up to another level, even though we were already stressing out for a fucking dance.
It was basically
3 characters.
It was Days of Future Past again. Like that's what they were. And I remember the rumors that people were like saying before the Bastion reveal. Oh my god! Like the reason why Cable was there because the Sentinel was sent from the future, which I think that would have been even crazier. Like, who the fuck sent it from the future, and how did it get here and nobody noticed it? But how did nobody even notice it to begin with? Like,
that's another thing.
Nobody knew until like it just showed up. Like, and the thing is, they never explained it, and I'm kind of okay with it because like, it kind of ruins the mystery because no one fucking knew. But it's like, how did this kaiju Sentinel get past? And nobody knew.
Yeah, because the thing is fucking massive.
It's a kaiju. How the fuck did no one know? I don't know. How was the music that loud in that room for them not to hear anything?
And there was also fireworks. Remember that? There was also
fireworks. How loud that thing is when it's moving. How the hell did no one go, you feel that? No, it's the music. Just dancing.
What a fucking night that night was.
Depends on how crazy the bass was.
That's true.
Those 90s bass, man. They don't make them like
boom, boom.
No, they definitely don't do that anymore.
Had it teleported there. That's what I think happened.
Yeah, somehow Bastion was able to have the music playing on beat whenever it moves so that no one noticed it. Like, that thing's heavy hitting. Jesus. But also, they never explained, too. Like, I guess the green beam was taking mutants away. It weren't killing them because it didn't kill Magneto.
Nope.
It's like World of Worlds. Just the beam that...
Yeah, they don't ever explain that.
And funny enough, I think it had the same sound effect as the World of Worlds.
Leech died.
Yeah,
but,
you did see
and everyone around it, but not Magneto. So I don't know.
Madeline Pryor died too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she got obliterated. Like someone had say, "Don't tell me Madeline died." Like, yeah, she's like one of the first to actually die.
We Shaw, more of a Taggart.
Like I think Mo came out and said that it was like, yeah, she died.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. And then Emma Frost got her diamond power. That was dope too.
That was
that was fucking dope. I love that.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, Phil, that's from the Morrison run, right?
Correct, you are.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
When Cassandra Nova launches the attack on Genosha, that's when that happens.
I remember people were like, "Wait a minute, does that mean Cassandra Nova?" And it's like, no, that's The
Yeah, it was cool.
movie.
It was a theory. It was a theory that was
Yeah.
running around after that episode.
I
I
Yeah.
think
remember
that's
that.
the best part about this show is that there's constant theories about what the hell
Yeah.
was going on, and
Well-
I don't think anybody thought Bastion.
No,
No.
So
no,
No.
What a great pull.
yeah,
Thank
no. The Cassandra
thank
Nova
God this
bit.
was the weekly show and not a binge
Yeah.
show.
if
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
oh my
Thank
god, if it was a
goodness.
binge,
Yeah.
oh Jesus.
Now, and with that whole thing where they're doing this whole thing of time travel, how cool would it be? Just throwing it out there. If they bring in somebody like the Sugar Man, who's from that apocalyptic alternate future, to play a role into it somehow.
The Sugar Man.
Yeah. It's like he's
Sounds like a
he's like a short, he's like a square shaped guy with 4 arms, and he has like an axe in each arm. But he's from he's from a parallel future, kind of like Bishop and Cable.
what the fuck? Let me see.
Hold on.
You can look up the character if you want.
Sugar Man Marvel. What the fuck? Sounds like something out of like Tom McFarlane's Spawn and shit. What the hell?
Oh yeah, I remember him.
How about no? How about no?
Why not?
That's an absolutely fucking not. That's what that was from Jordan.
Yeah, I'm not saying they'll do it, but anything's possible.
I'm not used to it. So I'm like, all right, cool. They're not going back to the same well. Which again is another thing about the Bastion thing is like I did not see that. I did not
What
see
the
that
hell?
coming.
And then it's like Bo's like, if you go back, I think there's one episode there's no tease, but every other episode's like, oh, there's a tease. Like on like the wall with like
The photo.
in Forge's house, there's a photo. He's just like, hey guys, what's up? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, and then it's like a round table scene. He's like sitting there in a scene. It's like Jesus Christ, he's everywhere.
He's in the I want to say in episode 2, he's in like the meeting. Like he's in the hearing, I think, for Magneto.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
At the UN?
And
Yep.
yeah, at the
Yeah,
UN.
he is.
And then in episode 5, he's at the gala.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You have
yes.
to look, but he's there.
So I wanted to ask you guys because they kind of teased a little bit of just in the present day what mutants are still there. So I wanted to ask you guys, who do you think we'll see in season 2 and kind of get like a spotlight? Like
Kitty
as
Pryde.
big character.
I want-
Iceman.
Shadowcat.
need Kitty
Shadowcat.
Pryde.
I want to see Kitty Pryde. I want to
Yeah.
see
I
Kitty
need-
Pryde.
She's
Kitty
on the
Pryde's a
poster.
mutt.
She's on the poster.
That
I
was
need her.
magic.
Yeah.
by the way.
And,
That was
and, and Bo was asked, and he said, "Give it a week after the episode airs." I'm thinking he's gonna say, "Yeah." I mean, obviously it's Shadowcat,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
I think she's in season 2.
Yeah.
She's such a big character.
Colossus.
Yes.
Colossus and Magic.
Yes.
Colossus,
Yeah,
I
I think
think-
And
Colossus
Angel.
and
I would say Angel.
Havoc.
Yeah.
Angel,
Havoc. Havoc's
have-
gonna want to know where his brother is.
Yeah.
Could we have
What's
an
he-
Iceman, please?
Yeah.
With how they
Iceman.
ended, with like how they ended the last season, there's so many opportunities to like bring in all these characters that we didn't get this season. Just be like, there's no X-Men, so someone has to step up and take care of business. So bring in Iceman,
Also-
Angel, stuff like that.
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Yes,
Off-world.
I'm shocked they
yeah,
didn't appear sooner. To be honest,
They had,
like, I thought,
they had a cameo at the
Silhouettes.
very tail end there as
Yeah.
silhouettes, but yeah.
Silhouettes, yeah.
and
And
it's-
was
it's-
that-
it's-
Was that Polaris too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
That
the
was
thing
her.
is, like, I think
That
that
was
was
her.
her. I'm like, I think that was her.
That was Polaris,
And-
yeah.
does Magneto know about Polaris?
I think so.
I
Really?
think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what was
She's
cool
in
about
his
the moment
memory,
is that
then
he
yeah.
couldn't
Was-
recognize his
Wait,
children.
Oh,
Pola-
yeah, that's
was
right,
Polaris
sorry.
in '90s? I can't
No,
remember.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think.
So that's all new.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he didn't even find out until about Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch until close to the end.
Yeah, it was-
Before
Final
that
season,
shot,
right?
I think she does make a cameo when I think Bastion or somebody is explaining how the future plays out.
Yes,
No, yeah,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Cable plays out the future, and it's like
You
it's
see
a
an order
harmony and
Polaris,
whatnot.
yeah.
Yeah, she.
Well,
she
you
appears
also
there.
see Rachel Summers too.
Yeah.
And
She has the power of the Phoenix.
And as somebody who really liked the Weapon X arcs in the original show, I don't know what sort of role they would have, but I would kind of like to see Silver Fox and Maverick again. I like those characters.
Yeah.
Because especially with that last episode they had with them, where those two, Wolverine and Sabretooth, find out that their memories were just planted and their lives were made
Some
up
of it.
essentially. Or yeah, it wasn't all of it because the whole thing with the cabin and the door.
Yeah.
But that was some deep stuff. It's like I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Weapon X, I believe, episode. Yeah.
Yeah, or
I
one
think
of
with
the next
the
episodes there were a
tension
number
that
of them.
the tension that Bo brought to season 1 and his love for the show, I am not worried for his scripts in season 2 because I feel like
No.
we're gonna get a lot of the shit we're hoping to see.
Mhm.
I think in some sort of capacity. you know,
the fact that Ian and Michael got a shout out,
Mhm.
and you have to look
Yeah,
very
that was
closely.
awesome.
That was
in
cool.
the
That was
poster.
cool.
I was like,
I
and
like
the
that.
the OG Magneto voice actor from the OG series.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I appreciate the super chat. I kind of need them more now because of my fucking house situation. Thank you. Appreciate it. My God. I'm panicking over here. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. I'm literally starting to panic. I'm like, I got to do more fucking videos. Oh, shit.
Hey, shorts, man.
Shorts have definitely helped. Yeah.
Yeah.
I turned things around, but
have you reacted to Wolverine and the X-Men, or is that next on your list?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That was my second interview with Joshua Fine. Yeah.
Yes,
That's right. Yeah.
Because Avengers My Hero is my first one. So
I have a question now, actually. Now that this show has come out, is this everyone's favorite X-Men show, or is there another that you guys that's like your guys' favorite?
It's definitely up there.
This is it.
I could change my mind on this, in a week and say, hey, this is my favorite. But I don't know if I would combine it with the original show or view it as its own thing because it's one story. Because I love the original show so much. It's for a long time, it was my favorite animated show of all time. Growing up, and it's part of it is probably still going to stay that way. But I could definitely either loop this into it or put it right up there next to it.
Yeah, that's
tough.
Yeah,
that's really tough.
It's hard to say though, because because again, we've only had one season of it so far.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
You don't know how it's all going to play out.
I think with it tied into the '90s show, it's kind of hard to say any other show because it literally '97 ties in. I mean, look, like all the other X-Men shows doing their own thing. Like X-Men Evolution, very different show, did its own thing. It should be applauded and praised for what it did. Same thing for Wolverine and the X-Men. It was definitely reminiscent a lot to the '90s show, but it was doing its own thing too. It's hard to say, but the '90s. I mean, you can't top it. Like,
you just can't.
Well, it's also really hard. It's also really hard for X-Men, Wolverine and the X-Men because that only got one season.
Yeah.
I think if it had gotten 2 or 3.
Yep.
We could say, okay, is it better than Evolution? I mean, Evolution definitely has some weak moments, but it got 4 seasons. There's some moments.
And I'm glad I eventually gave the show a shot because when it was first out, I'm like, I don't like this. This is not my '90s X-Men that I grew up on. But I eventually did give it a shot, like 3 years after it ended, and I was glad I did.
I remember watching X-Men Evolution when it debuted. That was like one of my because I had been a huge fan of the '90s show. Like growing up in the '90s, I watched Spider-Man, the animated series, Batman, the animated series, X-Men, all of that stuff.
Those are the big 3,
Right, they're the big 3. So when it came time to do, X-Men Evolution, I was game. I was already an X-Men fan. I didn't really pay much attention to like the hard continuity of it. I was like, oh, they're in high school. Oh, this is Avalanche. Oh, it's fucking Blob. Like I didn't care about any of that shit.
Blob.
Yeah, the Avalanche seizure face from that show.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. Or the origin of Rogue, like all of that stuff was just super fucking dope.
Yeah.
But then looking at the original show, it's kind of tough. Like this is a nice companion piece. This is almost like Dr. Sleep slotting next to the Shining movie, and just how well it all kind of melds together. And this is really just a testament to like a fan coming into it 30 some odd years later and keeping it relevant, but also keeping it fresh and keeping it strong with what came before too. And honestly, if anyone had any issues with the animation from the original show, I feel like that criticism gets taken care of with these 10 episodes because it's a fucking far cry in terms of quality.
Yeah.
And I tell folks, look at what was coming out that time and what Warner Brothers was willing to give out to Batman and what that did. But I also appreciate with the limitations that the OG show had and how much gold it struck. Sure, some stuff it is hard to watch, especially that 5th season. The animation just goes wild. But it did a lot and it laid the foundation for a lot of us and whatnot. I mean, they've said it, like without that show, who knows if that first movie gets greenlit.
There's even irony there too, because
I can just imagine the pressure on the Evolution guys after the '90s show came out. It's like, what do we do that's different from this?
Edgy.
Edgy.
Send him in high school.
But
Exactly.
you gotta give them credit because they brought the character of X-23 to life and
I was gonna say,
made her into
yeah.
the mainstream comics.
Laura.
So,
And I wouldn't be surprised if X-23 shows up here in the 90s somehow.
I would also argue they made Nightcrawler a giant mainstay as opposed to how he was in the 90s show
very
too.
much.
Yeah, because he wasn't around a lot in the 90s show.
Right.
And
They
I
gave him
loved how
so much love.
I love how goofy Kurt was in Evolution.
So did I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Same.
for me,
And
like,
look, I also love Cal Dodd as Wolverine, but hot fuck, Steve Blum takes the fucking cake. That dude voices Wolverine. That is the voice of Wolverine for me.
Yeah.
And I also think Scott McNeil did a good job too. I will give him that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, X-Men Evolution, that's the one I grew up with. So I'm always going to be a little bit biased and like gear towards that show a bit more, you know. But I mean, this show and the '90s one, I mean, they're up there for sure. You know,
it feels weird because, like, as the thing said, I literally finished Evolution tonight too. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like,
you definitely didn't plan that.
It definitely wasn't planned.
Happy coincidence.
Really
The happy
The
coincidence.
Watcher, man.
There you
The
go.
Watcher.
Yeah,
Some
all
stuff
that
he's
stuff you see in like the glimpses of the future. At the end, it's like I want to see more of this, and then
I
it's
do.
done.
But that's like one of the, like, honestly though, even though like obviously they planned more stories, like X-Men Evolution's ending is one of those endings where it's like they knew kind of, we could have done more, but like let's just give you something where it's like, we could have teased more, but like we're happy to end it here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was still content with it. It wasn't to the point where I was like, no, why do you go there? It's like, okay, I'm fine.
X-Men Evolution walked so Young Justice could run.
Coming.
Yes,
Amen.
exactly.
Amen. Bring that show back after getting canceled twice.
Again.
Yeah.
So with this major announcement with my personal life happening, I'm going to wrap it up a little early. But when I go down the line, and I want everyone to tell me your favorite thing from '97. It could be a particular episode, a particular moment. We're going to go down the line, and we're going to call it a night. So, Jake, where can we find you, and what is your favorite moment from '97, season 1?
So to answer the first question, you can find me at these sites here, right under my name. Do Let's Plays, do retro reviews, and I'm going to have a full season review of X-Men '97 Season 1 coming within the next couple of days, so look forward to that. And as far as my favorite thing from '97, I think just it's kind of a few general things bundled into one, but just the tone, the way they handled the storytelling, the way the characters felt, not only similar to how they were in the '90s, but it's also so authentic. Everything just felt so believable, and it gave you a good feeling while watching it. It was making the 7-year-old inside me smile again. And I really I liked how they handled a lot of the stories with not only there was not only a lot of detail, and not only did they hit heavy topics, but they also handled it very maturely, especially for like a TV 14 show like that. They did it very, very well. So definitely looking forward to see what they have next.
Ronan, where can we find you in favorite moment from X-Men '97?
You can find me at Ronan Unchained on YouTube, on socials. I'm probably gonna still do my own review, spoiler, of the season, and maybe it be a live stream in the coming days. Favorite moment? Wow, man, that is
hard hitting.
Before I do that, I also want to give a shout out to the Newton brothers. Y'all came through with that music, not just the main theme, but how they played out in different versions. And to people who worked on the intro, y'all, I salute y'all. Y'all did it. That was a beautiful gift to have just that. Favorite moment? I think it might have to. It's a toss. I think it's between when Kurt comforts Rogue in Day of the Dead in Mexico. I think that scene takes it for me, and one that I wasn't expecting to hit me as hard, because again, I'm more of a Cyclops fan, but the diner scene, those legends, they don't do my folks right. And your mother told me, no, my favorite line is just, listen, I told myself I wouldn't do the same thing my dad did. It's like, what are you talking about? Not saying goodbye. I just like, y'all, man, this show, Logan, they're prepping me, man. They're prepping me to be a good dad. Yep. I'm like, fuck, I better not fuck it up now.
Exactly.
But yeah, that'd be it.
Darren?
Just my name anywhere.
Yeah.
No, I just go find me somewhere, I guess. No, I think just like Nightcrawler is my favorite X-Men, and like as a kid, I would just tell people, and they'd be like, "Who's that?" Like I felt like I never got that just And so like going into this show, I was like, I hope he's just in an episode. Like I hope they give Nightcrawler an episode. And so that moment when he's in the intro card, I like, what? They're actually doing it. I was so excited.
Yeah,
and every episode
cool.
he was in was a treat. It was a joy. They did that guy justice. And I hope they continue to do that next season. Yeah, he was my favorite part of the season. I loved it so much.
Awesome. Phil Pool.
Well, thank you again for the invite. Sorry I couldn't be here the entire time.
Don't worry
But,
about it, man. It's all good.
If anyone wants to follow me, just at Unfiltered, pretty much everywhere except that cesspool known as X. Fuck that website.
Yeah, saw that today.
Fuck that place. Favorite thing from X-Men 97. That would probably be getting to watch the show every week and getting to chat with so many different people about it. Ultimately, that's one. But like from
That's
the
the
show
right
itself, the show itself, it's the juxtaposition of Magneto telling the people in the United Nations hearing, "Don't make me let you down," and then having Charles come in and plead with him, and Magneto telling him, "Look what fucking happened, Charles. I was right." Like Magneto was right. Magneto was right. That's my thing. That's the thing I'm going with. Magneto was right. That's the thing I love the most about X-Men 97. Magneto was right.
Magneto was right. I thought that was like a tagline.
Yeah, that was a thing. Yeah.
Twitter. Yeah.
Get it on a t-shirt.
RJ.
Someone make that.
Hey, thank you for inviting me. Always a pleasure to be on.
Of course.
You can follow me on all the socials at Resident Justice. I'm pretty easy to find. Favorite X-Men 97 moment? I'm just going to cheat and say anything with Rogue.
That's fair.
Lenore.
They did her
That's
well.
fair.
No, Lenore killed it. Yeah.
Lenore Zan fucking rocked it hard. Yeah, that was great.
Okay. And Omni Media.
Well, you can find me at Omni Media.
Perfect.
Everywhere.
There we go.
Who?
Who? Who the fuck is that?
Who the fuck?
But I don't know, man. Like there's so many great things, but I just that remember it moment, man. Like it's seared into my brain.
I can't feel you.
Yeah.
And
then bringing it back when she just nukes Bastion in the face.
Oh yeah.
Well,
like when she slams her hands.
His name was
him,
Gambit.
Remember it.
Yeah.
Like
with
tears. When she does the Hulk clap, slap in the face, it's crazy.
Second runner up was not making finally not making Cyclops a little bitch.
His landing.
Yeah.
The last
Cyclops
10 years
have just dues.
The last 10 to 15 years have not been kind to Cyclops.
Whoever they cast in the MCU better live up to X-Men 97's Cyclops.
Good luck.
For damn sure.
Literally.
Right? Good luck.
So Jordan, what would you say was your favorite thing from it?
Yeah.
Honestly, even though I still feel like a kid, like I said, I don't feel my age. It just reminded me of when I was little, watching the show for the first, watching the Juggernaut X-Men tape I had, and just watching the show again. It made me feel like simpler times. Yeah. Waking up at 4 in the fucking morning to cover this show before work, and then that night I had this fucking shit show for 3 hours. It was a long day, but it was worth it. It was worth waking up at 4 in the morning to do.
Sometimes I'd wake up at 11:30 at night and be like, "Oh, X-Men 97's gonna fucking pop on in a half hour." Sometimes
I wish.
Yeah. Sometimes I'd wake up at 4 in the morning and be like, "Fuck, I have to watch X-Men before I go to work."
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And Gore, I just want to say the thing he brought up in the episode where they're in the arcade. I wanted that so badly, but it didn't happen. The episode where
I really thought they would do a reference to it, but they didn't.
Or it's like someone else says or something, but yeah, that was me. I mean, and also too, just having the opportunity to talk about the show, and the fact is that so many people loved it too and loved the return. Because I was worried, man, because there was all that controversy. Oh, more. It's like, shut up.
Yeah,
let's just see what the show does.
Oh,
and it got new fans too. It got new fans.
Yeah,
who didn't grow up with.
Well, that's the funny part about it too. It's like the first 2 episodes hit, and they had all the controversy and all the negativity, and then after episode 3, it was
shut people up really quick.
It was episode 5. Once episode 5 hit, nobody could really criticize.
It's like these are a team of people with differences. It's gonna happen.
And also,
the fact that
the fact that with the mutants, Well, yeah, that too.
Like with like, oh, look at Rogue, and she's building up her self-esteem with the boss now, and it's just like, yo, if you don't find that fucking funny in the slightest, good luck.
But it's always just funny to see these people that claim they're comic fans, but they're like shitting on how woke X-Men is. Do you not know the point of the creation of
the X-Men have been woke since 1962. Shut the
Bolas
fuck
de
up.
pendejos.
Holy shit.
It's always those people that claim they're comic fans. Well, you didn't read the comics, and you just looked at the pictures. And, that's cool.
Yeah,
you don't actually know.
It's either that or you got all your information from movies.
Right.
Pretty much. Which the movies, like, not really didn't touch on it.
The Fox X-Men movies paint a very broad picture of who the X-Men actually are.
Yeah.
But
they do cover a bit of it in terms of Magneto's kind of view of everything in terms of the Homo sapiens and shit. But
sure,
I think the MCU is going to die more into it.
I would certainly hope so.
At the end of the day, I was just happy to have these X-Men back and spending more time with them.
Absolutely.
And we're getting more. And that's important. It's not a one-off, thank God. Not a one-off.
Thank God.
I can't wait to see the making of in a couple of days.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait
to see who they get to voice Apocalypse.
It's
Chris Pratt.
Yeah,
it's Ross.
It's Ross, the same guys.
It's Ross right, but I'm saying like if they decide to like change it up for season 2, I
think it'll be him. I think
you think it'll be Ross. Okay.
Well, if you listen to that voice, it sounds like he does a very good imitation of the. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what they do, but we know that he's not voicing him as in Sabanur. So they're going to have 2 voice acts. So I think he'll just do the Apocalypse and Present. It's fine because who knows? But I appreciate y'all being here, hanging out and chatting with X-Men on this special day and being here for the big announcement of my house situation. Holy shit. Big day. And
let's all move in.
Who the fuck is that guy? Shows up. Let's get the goddamn in.
I understood that reference.
Oscar Isaac, he'll do it. Anyways, we see you guys on Wednesday with another regular episode of Council. Bye, everybody.
To me, my X-Men.
To me, my X-Men.
To me, my X-Men.
Get out of here, my X-Men.